All right, we're back. Bracket Cat. So you'll be back on the air by 4:30. We're back on the air, and it is 3:13. Sorry about that, a technical issue with the internet that we buy, which is incredibly expensive while we're here at NFL Radio Row. And Paula, blanky blank blank with 4 exclamation marks. That's how we all felt there for just a second. We'll have Dhani Jones and also Nate Boyer, U.S. Army Green Beret. He'll join us in a moment. Dhani Jones was a longtime linebacker in the NFL and also an entrepreneur. Patrick Crakes will join us at 4:30 today Central on all that streaming yesterday. We discussed it a little bit. He could break it down on really what does it mean from his perspective as somebody who has been inside of the business. Darren Woodson. He's up again for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Former Cowboys great will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Denver Broncos safety Nick Ferguson, now in radio. He'll join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Paul will have his top 5 and much more. And I was saying this before we popped off the air. Sean Stellato, he's an agent for Tommy DeVito, but also for 19 Super Bowl champions. He dropped by our location right before we came on the air. He's as Italian. He's more Italian than Paul Catalina.
Yes.
Very much so.
That's hard to do.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yes.
And we had a great time with him. We'll have him on the show today. Also here from Las Vegas, 365 Sports.
By the way, I'm going to take this opportunity to say that Unite Private Networks has nothing to do with the internet in this building.
I was going to say that for
you. Unite Private Networks has nothing to do with the internet in this building, and if they did, that wouldn't have happened. So, Unite Private Networks, UnitePrivateNetworks.com. We love you unconditionally.
We don't have that problem anymore, and if it happens, it's fixed in 5 seconds, unlike what was like for the longest time with the internet that we had in the building where we are on MLK. And we'll be back in the studio on Monday of next week. I don't know where we went off the air. Was it after the basketball part? Did we get Kelvin Sampson's audio clip on the air?
We got Kelvin in, and it was after that where it cut out.
Okay, so we've done that. Now, 1 or 2 quick college football stories. We'll have a little clip from Alex Foster, who signed with Baylor today. They also got a safety out of Fort Bend Marshall today. And as they're 2 guys they signed, a lot different. One quick note I wanted to mention nationally, Kalen DeBoer, despite all of the defections on the roster that Saban had, 92% of those who were committed to Alabama before Saban retired stayed with Alabama, signed with Alabama, including the 5-star mega stud wide receiver Ryan Williams.
Yeah, very nice job by Kalen DeBoer retaining a class, which, I mean, 92%, it is still Alabama. You know, that didn't change because Nick Saban left. It's just not Nick Saban's Alabama anymore. It's Kalen DeBoer's Alabama. But to get those guys to stay, and look, they lost some dudes. Like, there's no doubt about it. They lost some dudes.
They did.
But he got 92% of the recruiting class to stay. The bigger losses obviously came off the current roster. To get the 92% of the recruiting class to stay is big because that's where the future's built. So,
all right, Dhani Jones is about to join us here on Radio Row, NFL Media Headquarters with 365 Sports. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be here until through Friday's show, by the way, with Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoak as well. Thank you very much for that. We'll be here. Also, Nate Boyer, U.S. Army Green Beret, is going to join us in just a second. But Dhani Jones joins us here on 365 Sports at NFL Media Headquarters, and there we go. You've been around today. You've done this.
Have you seen me wandering?
Yeah, you're a professional.
Have you seen me do these laps? I've been doing these laps for over 20 years. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's a madhouse.
It's called reality check. When you say, oh well, someone I talked to, they're like, oh man, I've been doing media and Radio Row for like 10 years. I was like, hold on real quick. 10 years to this 24, 14. Oh, yeah, I was out of the league then. Yeah, I was definitely doing Radio Row. And someone else said, oh, I've been doing Radio Row for 15 years. Okay, well, then I went down to, that was 09. Like, man, okay, I was playing for the Bengals. We definitely didn't go to the Super Bowl, so I was definitely doing Media Row. Right? And I kept going. I was like, someone was like, oh, I've been doing it 25 years. I was like, let me think about that, right? So everybody that I talked to, I just kept adding up more and more and more and more years that I've been here at Radio Row, and it's always it's always a really special and unique environment. You get to see a lot of the players that you've played with, other people that you haven't met, maybe you wanted to meet. There's some people in the music industry and so many different other industries that are people coming. And this is the world stage. This is where everybody ultimately wants to be, right in Las Vegas. Now, are you guys going to the Sphere tonight to go to the U2 concert?
No, I wish I was.
Oh, you guys are working? You're working? Is that what it is?
Nobody invited us.
Are you going to go eat? General admission. What are you talking about? Just go get a ticket.
Yeah, okay.
Just go get a ticket.
Yeah.
You can sit and Gen Pop like everybody else. You don't need those fancy seats that you get all the time. Come on now. You can just throw out that media badge and be like, look, paparazzi. Hey, paparazzi coming through, paparazzi. What movie is that? That's from Cars. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you more proud of what you, and I know we have something that you're doing now to try to help the youth.
Wait. Can we pause real quick? What is this?
Oh, it's just a.
What is this? What is this? What is this?
I know.
What
It's
is this?
disgusting.
This should be in alignment with those that are coming on your show. What are you talking about? My face should be right here.
Right here.
Am I on that one? Okay.
Hold on. No,
wait.
look.
I just want to see. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. What is this? What is this? What is this?
I know enough
This
about
is a private equity-owned college football team. What are you talking about? What is this?
Oh my God!
What is this? And this team, this is like what Tebow's throw. I mean, what is this? This is Tebow land.
Paul,
Tebow land.
You're getting your nuts cracked.
I know.
Right now.
What are you doing?
Sorry.
Look, is this us right here? Is that us? Is that how small we are?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there we
How'd
go.
you get the screen to go on the side? Is that the new operating system?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's kind of cool.
It's called.
I need to get a new one. What's it called?
Stage manager.
Stage manager. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get
Greatest
distracted by
segment
not seeing my face on the screen.
We're playing this back immediately. By the way. Immediately.
Hey, look. I'm not for private equity, but look, when you get screwed like Florida State did,
Screwed. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I know what you're talking about, but tell me what you're talking about.
I mean, you sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm not for it though. Yeah.
Okay.
I think when you
let
turn
me
over
just
private
put it out
equity-
like this: the greatest representatives for the college football is the greatest university in the world. And that's the University of Michigan. Period. Point blank. End of discussion. All right. That's just what it is. We're the greatest university. We reset the scale. Everything is right in the world. The only thing that could have made this entire situation better is if Detroit and if Baltimore would have been in the Super Bowl. I think that would have been amazing for all of society. That would have been great, a great American win. Now, I'm happy for Kansas City. I'm happy for San Francisco. Great. But for America, I think America would have loved that. Can you imagine Detroit fans here?
No.
What?
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the casinos would have been crazy. The amount of money people would have spent would have been insane, right?
Yeah.
The parties would have been off the chain.
And it would have been the first time here. Because of that, they would have the massive crowd. You're right.
Massive crowd.
It's been forever for them.
I mean, Radio Row would have been crazy. You guys would have all kinds of interviews. You wouldn't have to deal with crazy people like myself.
No, hey.
What
This
are
is
you
great.
more proud of? You as
He's
a,
like,
what-
back to my question.
No,
yeah.
2 minutes ago.
No, that's
I
fine.
know.
No, this is great. It's impromptu. We're live. What are you more proud of, your football career or your entrepreneur career?
I don't. I have to say my. Man, that's tough, right? Because it's hard to have one without the other, right? I think my football career inspired my entrepreneur career, and I think my entrepreneur career will inspire my continued belief in myself and as well as my legacy, right? And I think everything kind of plays off one another. I think I'm proud of how about this? I'm proud of the fact that my parents believed in me and they raised me, and gave me so many different opportunities. They both went to Michigan, so there's a chance that I might end up in Michigan. They're both in the military, so they always believed in this notion of service, which I do as well. I was in the military, but I believe in the importance of service. So I think I'm most proud of the way that my parents taught me, and I hope to be just as good a parent to my children so that they have the same type of mentality as well. But, I love playing football. I think that everybody that plays football is an entrepreneur. Whether you're in college at one of these private equity schools or at a great university like Michigan, we're taught the power of entrepreneurship by being those single-purpose entities. Right? We're LLCs, right? Some of these kids in college are getting paid a couple $1 million a year, and now they're coming to the National Football League. They're getting paid a lot of money too. Some people are staying longer in college because they're getting paid more.
Right, exactly.
Right? So I think that inspires that next layer of entrepreneurship, and so I'm really proud of how this world is moving now. We got a lot of things to figure out, but in due time.
Yeah. You are, one of my favorite things about you is that you are a man about the world. You're going to travel, you're going to go somewhere.
Traveling.
You're going to, you're one of those guys who, if you have the time and you could make it happen, you're probably going to pack up and go pretty quick.
Why not?
Right? Yeah.
Unless I got a honeydew list or something like that.
But experiences are better than things, right?
Oh, experiences, you know what? I got to remember that. Experiences are better than things. I mean, experiences, you know, it's even more just as amazing as what you're saying. Do you know one of the things that allows you to remember the most is actually the smell? Mm-hmm. You know that? I mean, I don't. You know that maybe a lot of people out there don't know. Your smell is one of your greatest tools of memory, right? And when you land in countries like India, Cambodia, when you land in, when you land in the UK, now depending upon where you are, right? If you land in Switzerland or Sweden, it's different. You land in Sao Paulo, where the Eagles are going to play my former team, it's different. All these different places are different. I actually love these new smells and fragrances and people and community and food and culture in the place that you land. It's kind of like landing in Vegas. It's got its own culture.
Yeah.
Right? It's got its own culture, which gives people so much energy and enthusiasm, and that's why I'm so excited about the Super Bowl. But, yeah, if I could go somewhere, I'm going there. Yeah. Trust me.
What's your most recent trip?
My most recent trip, I was in Indonesia, and before that, I was in not Cambodia. Where was I? I was in Cameroon. Sorry.
Okay.
I was in Cameroon fishing. I was fly fishing, outside Douala. I mean, it's fantastic. The fly fishing, tiger fish, amazing. You get these fish about this big, and you got this other thing called Nile perch. So tiger fish about this big, and the teeth about this long, right? Teeth, not as big as my finger, but like that long. Big, huge teeth, right? Right? But then you also have these Nile perch about that big around. And you fly fish really, really late at night, and you got hippopotamus and all these other wildlife around you that you gotta, just try to forget, right? Hippopotamus, one of the most dangerous animals in the entire world. Yes. Those things will just like take your body apart, right? But being able to go out there and fly fish, it kind of gets you into the zone of focus. But travel, smells, experiences, Super Bowl, all of it allows you a perspective on life. I mean, we're fortunate enough to be here, but, I think the most important thing is being able to be fortunate for the things that you have and recognize that we've all kind of come a long way. We've all gone through our personal challenges and just life. And I don't know if you got a chance. I saw it. You put it right here. So look at this. Oh, yep. I dropped it. I don't want to drop it. Okay. It says lunch is on us. Cafe Momentum right here. Over there in the corner. I don't know if you got lunch from Cafe Momentum, but these young people, they might not have had the opportunity to travel, to go fishing, and to be able to play, in the NFL or different things. They've been, justice involved, at-risk youth that have been through the juvenile justice system, and they're looking for their next chance at life, right? And I think that's what the power of Cafe Momentum is, and we're just trying to raise as much awareness as possible because these young people through this restaurant, which is in Dallas and Nashville and Pittsburgh and soon to be in places like Denver and hopefully get to places like Baltimore and places like Houston, are really work with these young kids so that they can find a way through society with people that empower them and that believe in them, just like people have believed in us. You wouldn't have the show if someone didn't believe in you.
No, you're right. When you see a young person see that you believe in them, is that one of the great...
Oh, you see the light bulb go off. You see the enthusiasm. You're like, what? And especially if they sort of been in a challenged environment where they've had to endure different struggles or different obstacles or different circumstances in life. Not everybody has had all the tools, so to speak, right? And so they've had to make tools, they've had to borrow tools, and unfortunately some people have had to steal tools, right? And that may not be the best outcome. But if people are giving new tools to open new doors, they're able to find their way through to a new world. And that's what Cafe Momentum really represents. And Stand Together Foundation and Players Coalition and the NFL all support it. And, you see Sean Alexander running around here, and some of the ambassadors who are part of those at-risk youth, they're running around here too. So I'd invite you to have them on your show and tell their story firsthand.
Got momentum. And again, love the segment with you, man. Appreciate what you're doing.
Having me. I appreciate it. So go to cafemomentum.org/Super Bowl and you can find out about it. Make sure you go tomorrow if you didn't go today.
We'll go get some. We'll go grab some
11 to 1 p.m.
Tahani Jones with us, and what a great segment it has been in Vegas at Super Bowl 58.
Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
365 Sports, NFL Media Headquarters, Radio Row. We're kind of dancing a little bit here. We're going to have Nate Boyer, U.S. Army Green Beret. Played at the University of Texas. We've had Nate on before. He's going to join us here momentarily on what he's doing with Jake Glazer on helping military veterans transition into real life, helping football players or athletes when they take off the jersey or the helmet, whatever it might be, or both, transitioning into real life. And Nate Boyer is a part of that with Jake Glazer, and we'll have Nate Boyer here join us momentarily. A couple of college football notes, though. We mentioned the National Signing Day, mentioned Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. Despite it all, the class itself was pretty much retained. They did lose a couple of players, but they retained most of it. All about the Kelvin Sampson and Big 12 basketball. So yesterday, late in the day, a federal judge said that he was not going to grant a temporary restraining order for Tennessee, the state of Tennessee, or Virginia against the NCAA. However, in whatever he wrote, he basically told the NCAA, you're going to lose this case.
Yeah, he did.
You're going to lose this case. So I don't know what that means next, but you're going to lose. We're not going to put up the temporary, we're not going to change it. But you're going to lose this case.
Yeah, it's basically anything that you do that prohibits anybody's ability to make money is a violation, and so you're probably going to lose. So that's also him saying, like, hey, we can get this off the docket if you guys do that. And here's the thing that's probably the most frustrating is everybody who the NCAA has gone to, be it the courts or the government, which I know are the two parts of the same thing, but whether it's the judicial or the legislative, they've told them the same thing. Clean up your own bleeping yard. And then when you come to us with an actual plan of how you're going to do this, we will help you regulate it.
Yes.
We will help you,
Yes.
but you cannot turn also, I think there's some of them that are like, are you asking us to come up with a plan for you? We don't do that. You come up with a plan, you say this is what you're going to do, you get everybody to agree on something, that it's not going to be fought endlessly like it is now, and then we will put the parameters in place so that it is stable. But until that point, we're just not interested. And everything you hear from a politician about this bill or that bill or this bill, I mean, who knows where it goes? I mean, there are bills that have to deal with way more important things that have been on the shelf for 15 years probably. So that's what's going on. I applaud the judge for saying this because it's the most simple way of doing it. It's like, look, you guys, I'm not going to grant the TRO because it would be pointless, because essentially if you do anything to punish Tennessee or anybody else in this manner, you're going to lose. This is how this is going to work. So maybe save a little money on your lawyers.
Yep. No, you're right. And so they're telling him, you're going to lose. But right now, this seems like a win. And I saw where, there were some that, the NCAA got to win. They got basically just a delay in what's the inevitable. Hey, the Matrix Analytical, that's Dave Bartu, does a great job with a lot of things with college football, had a report, and I'm trying to get it here up on my screen, had a report that Baylor and Dave Aranda were about to hire. Actually, Zach Barnett had this football scoop that Baylor's going to hire former special teams coordinator Mark Scott from Houston. Dave Bartu reached out to me and said, this is an excellent grab by Baylor, a 4.2 star career grade on special teams. For comp, Aranda gets a special teams analyst with a career high grade, higher than what Coach Venables lost to Alabama to join Kalen DeBoer's staff. And, of course, Baylor's special teams have been hit and miss, really. They've been good at times and tight at times, but they've also been kind of a hit and miss at times. And Chip Kelly, it was a report last night, was interviewing with the Seahawks. National Signing Day today, and on the eve of that, he's interviewing with the Seahawks.
Yeah, well, he wants out. I think it's clear he wants out. He and UCLA, kind of barely made it through the end of the season this year, so... interviewing with the Seahawks, being rumored for the Commanders, rumored a couple other places. I think even somebody mentioned his name for the Boston College job, which he's not one of the finalists for that. But to go from UCLA to Boston College would be very, very telling if he had done that. But I do think, he and UCLA are bound for a parting of the ways. I'm kind of almost betting that UCLA is hoping come on, Seattle.
Yeah.
Just do it, because
somebody take us out of our misery.
It's not going to, if he's doing this now, and he's not interviewing for head coaching jobs.
Coordinators.
And he's going to make good money either way, but this is not like he's leaving to go be the head coach of the Seahawks. He's going to go work for Mike McDonald, the head coach of the Seahawks.
He's begging to get out of college football.
Well, and he had that great point about how it should be, and I wouldn't also put it past him to have that Jeff Hafley thing. Here, Nate, over here. Right here.
Here we go.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
Hello, Nate. David Smoak, buddy. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
We got you over here.
Right here. All right.
You got my water.
Okay.
So, look, we're talking about the Seahawks. We've got a Seahawk.
Yes. One of our great sponsors of our coverage in anytime we've been to the Super Bowl has been U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company with Captain Kai Kizzy. And this is a great segment to have with, of course, U.S. Army Green Beret Nate Boyer, former Texas, always a current former University of Texas football player. We've had you on many times. How you been? How's life?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Doing really well.
I just realized that you are probably one of the only people on earth that you are a Texas Longhorn and also part of a 12th man.
They call it the 12s.
Yes,
the
because
12s.
A&M pulled the rug out from under them on that one.
Yeah, that's right. They had it licensed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And another interesting note, I played. So now, Texas is obviously moving to the SEC, and we're going to play A&M again every year, which we have to do. But the last game Texas played against A&M was in 2012 at Kyle Field.
Yep.
And it was the only time when I was at Texas that I got to play against them, right? So I'm on the sideline, standing there in uniform, and all of a sudden I hear this very familiar song that the A&M band is playing. They were playing the Ballad of the Green Beret. Mm-hmm. And for a split second, in all my arrogance, I was like, oh, they're playing this for me. No, it's the Cadets. It's just one of the songs the bands play. But they had no idea there's a Green Beret on the field. The only one on the field is wearing burnt orange.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That game will always stick out in my memory because A&M had it won essentially and then made some really dumb penalties. I think was it Johnny Jolly that hit Case so far out of bounds they could have been getting water together?
They had that. They had there was a head-to-head on a pass to Mike Davis. I don't know if you remember that. It was over his head. It was probably uncatchable. But somebody, helmet-to-helmet got called.
15 yards.
On like 3rd and 17 or something. And all of a sudden first down. And the rest is history. Justin Tucker from 40 yards. That's where the legend began.
Yeah.
And then Tuck hasn't missed a kick since. You know what I mean?
I don't remember the last time a University of Texas kicker, I'm a lifelong Nebraska fan, and they've daggered them many times, missed a kick when it was a critical moment. There may have been one when they kind of went through this little struggle.
Yeah, but I don't. You might not be wrong. Even then, it was Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker.
To beat,
you beat Oklahoma one time, and so you're a veteran of this right now. You've been doing this, the Radio Row, and now what are you working with Jay Glazer? Is that right?
Yeah. On MVP.
Yeah. Yep. Trying to merge military veterans and athletes from jerseys or what they wore, camouflage, fatigues, whatever, into real life. That's not easy to do. That's a tough transition.
It is a tough transition, and it's like, I think some people think it's a real tough comparison to make when you first hear, because I did. Like, you can't compare war and sports, you know what I mean? But, like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the person who puts that uniform on every day, who sacrifices quite a bit to be elite, who has that camaraderie and mission, and someone that their career typically ends pretty young, and you feel like you'll never be great again. You sort of peaked. That's very similar, And so what we're doing with MVP is we're recreating that locker room, giving them that, I guess, just that community, and reminding them of, like, who they are. Like, they're the person who sacrificed so much to get to that point. They're the person who beat out everybody else. They're the person who didn't quit, And then maybe one day, like me, they did get cut, or their time ended in the military. And you still got a lot of life left, and you're still that person. You're still capable of so much. So it's like, what are you going to do next? Let's figure this out together, walk this walk together, as Jay likes to say. And, just like you didn't do in the military, you didn't do on the football field, which is quit. Like, can't quit now that that's over. There's still a lot of great things you can do.
Day one after a military career and an athletic career is kind of the same thing, because if you're an athlete, everything is structured. Like, there's in the military, it's even more so. Like, you never once had a day as a Green Beret where you woke up in the morning like, hey, what are we doing, Sarge? And like, whatever you want. Yeah. you never.
That's kind of scary. It's like, I say this all the time, but it's like, it's exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
You're like, I can do whatever I want. And then you're just like,
well, I've not done that.
But what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, where do I start? I have too many. It's almost like too many choices and options, and it can be kind of daunting. Like, what if I pick the wrong thing and, spend all this time going down this path and it's not even what I want? And, that's people get anxiety over that. It's a blessing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that everywhere. We're very lucky to live where we are and have what we have, as imperfect as it is, to have those opportunities. And that's because of, our forefathers that, fought for that stuff. But at the same time, like, it's, it can be intimidating just to sit there and think, like, well, what? Okay, so I was behind a rifle for 25 years. Not me, but, like, I'm just saying, the typical person that has that long career, or even 5 years. And now it's like, what am I actually good at that I can do in the real world?
Yeah.
Can't do that. You know what I mean? I get, unless you transition into law enforcement or something, but it's like, it's hard to sit there and imagine like where that translates. Same with sports. It's like, well, besides broadcasting, as an athlete, a lot of them think like, what else can I do? All I know is football. And it's just like, no, you know a lot more than you realize.
Paul's father fought on the lines in Vietnam in the Army. My dad was a Naval Academy graduate, never was running the lines, but was at Tan Son Nhut in Vietnam, and he was a part of a couple of wars. But he was a long time career military. He struggled. They tried to get insurance. It's not the same, and he really struggled with that. I wish you would have had somebody at that time understand because of the protocol that you have as a military man.
Those guys, I mean, the ones who did the most work for veterans were the Vietnam vets because they were not treated well. You know, guys came back from World War II, less so in Korea, but in World War II, and they were very much, sort of worshipped and great heroes. And same with
parades.
us. Same with us at some level. Maybe not the parades, but like the thank you for your service thing.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was trying to make up for that guilt of how those Vietnam vets were treated. But even while they were treated like that, they still fought for so many veteran rights and did a lot to get the VA where it is. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was, in a lot of these organizations.
My dad died almost 9 years ago, but he lived a lot longer because the VA saved his life with PTSD. And so
you gotta dedicate that and thank that's the Vietnam era.
And he after that put a lot of his free time. That was his because he, military, right to working for a company, and then he was retired. It was really tough for him to be retired. And then when he finally got got help for his PTSD in the VA, he was the guy I knew when I was a kid again, and he had a couple rough years. And then he dedicated all his time to free time to hey, I'm going to help these veterans.
Right.
Also, he knew how to get people to help him build a deck because they were bored at the VA, and he went and said, "Hey, I need help, building this fence."
Are you talking about a pitch deck on your laptop or a physical deck?
And he had a guy come, and he was a carpenter before he went in the military. His dad was a carpenter, and he knew all that. He went in the military, got hurt, and they had him doing this occupational therapy where he was making bowls and stuff, and he's like, "I'm gonna go nuts," and he's like, "Can I just take him out here and have him hammer some nails that he wants to do?" It's great. So
that's very cool.
Nate, how much of what Jay Glazer has publicized, his depression and things like that he's fought, do you think led him to this part of what you guys are doing?
I mean, a great amount. I think a big piece of it's that. Also, he was in New York during 9/11, and so he remembers the jets flying over, and he's like, that's a key memory for him. Because he was afraid. They couldn't find his best friend who had passed. They didn't know that yet, but they were looking for him. But he said he heard those jets and saw those jets fly over, and he was like, "Oh, thank God we're safe." You know what I mean? Just like that feeling of we're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And so obviously the connection with sports, MMA and football.
Sure.
For most of his life, he's worked in that space, and he's very tight with a lot of those players that have struggled. And coaches even that struggled when it ends, because that even more than the military, it's often not on your terms. It's just you're just cut one day,
That's right.
and it just happens, and you're just you're not prepared. If
your phone may not ring again.
No, and if you're thinking about Plan B, you're not focused on Plan A, so it's tough to do that. People are like, "Oh, you gotta have a backup plan," but I mean, I hear that. But when you're in it, you can't think that way, or the backup plan is going to be happening sooner than it should.
I've heard players say that if you ever think about retirement, you are retired.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard that. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. You played for Mac Brown.
Yep.
Who is still going at North Carolina.
Yeah.
And still very Mac Brown.
Yep.
Love Mac Brown.
Mac.
And you also played for Pete Carroll, who is now. He's having to do a little of that.
If I played for the two coaches that coached against each other in probably the greatest college football game ever, at least one of them.
I think so.
Five,
And individual
championship game.
Yeah, for sure.
Unbelievable.
What is it? I mean, to be a former Pete Carroll player, to think about the Seahawks not being coached by Pete Carroll.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. And I was only there 5 months, right?
Yeah.
I was there OTAs, training camp, preseason. But enough to get a sense of how it works down there, the culture. And it's very much, and I've been around and spoken to a lot of other teams and been around it at some level. And I don't want to say I know because I was in the locker room for a day or two.
Yeah.
But it was different there. It felt that college culture, that camaraderie, really getting to know your teammates. That was really important to Pete. And it showed. And then this positive style of coaching. where it's like he went through the stressful, with I think the Jets and the Pats, right?
Right.
Where he just was a high-stress guy. And it wasn't fun, and he didn't win. And then he went to USC, completely changed his methodology, started working with sports psychologists and just like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to feel that way. I want to have fun. This is supposed to be fun. And, it just sort of transformed the way that he coached and the staff that he built. And then they almost won 3 straight natties. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then he goes to Seattle and builds that. And everything was about competing, yes, but it was like, what I remember is like the only yelling that happened at practice was positive yelling. If somebody screws up, especially at the NFL level.
More reinforcement stuff.
Yeah. And if they screw up at the NFL level, they know they screwed up.
Yeah.
You just like dog cussing them and throwing your hat. It's just going to create more of an animosity. They're going to be playing on their heels now, trying to not make a mistake. Instead, just take that player aside and be like, hey, if you don't fix it, like you're either not going to play or you're going to be gone. And you know that. So we just got to fix it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. And that's it. And I think that when you respect and treat people that way, because these are men, you know what I mean? Especially at that level. They're making most of them, or not most of them, but a lot of them are making more than you are as a coach. Like you have to treat them in that manner, I think.
You were one of the last few teams at Texas when they were starting to drop a little bit.
Yeah, we were like 8-5, 9-4 when I was there.
But still winning and getting to bowl games. And then there's been this off and on drought. What are your thoughts about what Steve Sarkisian has done to get him on the precipice of playing for the national title?
I mean, whatever he's done is working because, even last year. So the year one he comes in 5-7, and everyone's thinking, well, there's same as it's been the last couple guys we've had, right? Which was tough. And the next year, I think 8-5. I think or maybe even 7-6. We lost the bowl game. We lost to Washington. So yeah, not much better, but a little bit better. And they hung in these close games, and kind of won more than the year before, where we lost every close game, right? And then this year, once again, like it's not like our numbers were off the charts, but we were in a lot more close games, but we figured out how to win. And
Kansas State, Houston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The only one was
TCU.
Oklahoma. And TCU, yeah.
And Oklahoma, we should have won.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
We had the ball late down there tied. That was a clock management thing, and I bet Sark would own it. But all we had to do was run the clock out and kick a field goal. And he was trying to go for the jugular, and we gave him too much time. We gave him a minute 20 or something, and they went down and won the game.
The Pete Carroll culture guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he knows it. So
but he's so he's
Saban. He's at the next level.
Yeah, so he's doing the result speaks for itself. You take a team to the playoff like that, and you're 4 downs away from going to the championship game. And we didn't even play well against Washington, and we still could have won that game at the end. And that was one of our worst. We looked terrible out there.
Makes them a little hungry during the offseason and the signing day today to wrap up a great class. Merging vets and players. Jake Glazer, this, of course, Nate Boyer with us on 365 Sports. Go to vetsandplayers.org. Yep. There's a gala coming up in April in Dallas. You want to register for that if you can to be in Dallas. Thank you.
And if you have the opportunity, please watch the MVP movie. So it's available on Paramount Plus, it's on Apple TV, it's on Prime. It was my directorial debut.
Awesome.
I shot it 3 years ago in the middle of COVID. It came out last Veterans Day, but it's available streaming now, and it really tells the story of how MVP started. It's about a Marine who was living in a homeless shelter and a former NFL player, first year out of the league, and they're going through those same struggles, trying to figure out who they are. And the cast, besides Jay, Tony Gonzalez, Randy Couture, Michael Strahan, Howie Long, and they all play themselves in this story, kind of telling their own stories. And then all the vets portrayed on screen are played by actual vets. And so it was a really authentic way of making this thing. And it did well. It's doing well. So please go see that movie because you'll really learn about the genesis of MVP and what we're all about.
Thanks for your time. It's always great to have you. You were on with us when we first started this new show, YouTube, back in April of 2020, one of our first guests. We appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you guys.
Nate Boyer with us. Again, it's merging vets and also players. MVP, and don't forget the movie he mentioned, 365 Sports in Vegas. Samantha DeBall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being From what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction along with being able to bid online for people that are not local.
Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that?
What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay.
Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing?
After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. We've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers.
Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers.
You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak. We've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown.
Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Thank you for calling your local Marco's Pizza. We're turning up the heat with our new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Fresh, house-made dough is topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. At only $5.99, this limited-time product is a hot deal. Add it to your order while you can. A Marco's team member will be with you shortly.
Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, and that offer on the Reaper Cheesy Bread is available right now at any of the 5 Marco's Pizza locations in Waco, including Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Woodway, and Hewitt. Order online at Marcos.com. Call for a pickup or delivery. Marco's Pizza is turning up the heat with their all-new Reaper Cheesy Bread with fresh, hot, house-made dough topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. And only $5.99 and for a limited time only. Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in Waco. And the new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Enjoying the show? Hit the like button and subscribe.
We're back in Vegas, 365 Sports, NFL headquarters, and also Radio Row. Tom Grossi, Green Bay Packers fan, with us. He is up for NFL Fan of the Year. So how does this all go? How you register? You send a what do you? How did you
carrier
get
pigeon? Yeah, we send that out. No, so I gotta be honest with you. I think this has been going on since 2012 that they've been giving out the award, and there's basically 32 nominees, one from each fan base, and I heard about it during 30 and 30 that fans were just starting to bring it up, and I was like, oh, I don't even know what that is. And a bunch of fans wound up nominating me, and so that's when I found out, and I got the call from the Packers in November that I was their representative.
What did you do when they called you?
There might have been a tier or two. You
really?
know, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that I'm from New York, and I've been a Packers fan since I was 6. And so there was always that distance between me and the Packers. You know, I go to Lambeau, I go to Green Bay every single year. But for like that 6-year-old kid who has loved this team from afar for so long, and now to be like the representative of the team that like, I love football, and at most I love the Packers.
Right.
So
right.
like to just be able to like get that recognition, which is not why you do this, you know, and it was completely unexpected, was pretty incredible.
All right, if 6-year-old you was to want to meet their favorite player, who would it have been?
I mean, back in the day, it was Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I mean, Brett, so I know it's a little controversial now, but yeah,
You
back
ju-
in the
your
day
voice
it was.
just shook when you said his name.
Yeah, because like I was talking about this man, like that was my childhood quarterback. I mean, I think he got so many people into the game. The way he played, it's just like it looked like he was going out and having fun, playing backyard football. Didn't know like what nickel defense was for the longest time, and I was like, I don't either. And it was just, it was an incredible thing. And then over the years, the Packers have been blessed to just have some like amazing people that do community work and charity work and just really represent the team in the best way possible.
What do you get if you're going to learn tomorrow night?
Yeah.
The NFL honors and So how many other 32 fans? Has it been a semifinal cut list like the Hall of Fame? Or?
Yeah, so there was 32, right? And they opened fan voting. So that was like 10% of the vote. And I think we did pretty well there. But then on top of that, there's like a committee that like does like a whole bunch of stuff because it's sponsored and all that. And they ultimately make the decision. So yeah, I'll find out tomorrow night as I'm sitting there at the NFL Honors.
That's awesome. And being at that event, what happens if what do you get?
So I get a trophy, I've heard, but I also heard that I present an award.
No kidding.
Yeah, so like I don't know what it is. Like last year, the Seahawks fan who won did like comeback player of the year because it was Geno Smith. The year before that was coach of the year. So yeah, that seems like that's what that's going to be if that comes to pass.
Wow. Oh, okay. So I'm a Cowboys fan.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're not though.
I'm not.
You're not, but you're not. I will tell you, and I've covered them for years. The most, like I've had to reserve myself in the press box was 2016, Aaron Rodgers threw the best pass I've ever seen in my life to Jared Cook. And I'm watching it happen in the stadium thinking, he has this much of a window to throw it into. Yeah. And he did it. So now my reaction, like, and everybody sitting there was just like, oh. Like that's
not supposed to have emotion in the press box.
But
gotta be quiet.
It was quiet.
Not in that
but
one.
It was still like
an internal rage.
You could tell everybody's like, oh, because you think you're going to get to do another game and all this stuff.
Sure.
And then Aaron Rodgers comes and just daggers it. What was your feeling during that moment?
Yeah, I mean that year was so special because that was the run the table year.
Yeah.
And like this is an aside that has to do with that year. The Packers weren't good. Like for a while, like they were on a losing streak. It wasn't looking good, and it was the Eagles game where they turned it around. And at that point, this was 2016. I had just started the podcast, like maybe a year prior, because I started in 2015. And I put a Packers jersey on my dog. All right, this was going somewhere, I promise. And I posted it, and I was like, maybe she could turn things around. Because I think as sports fans, there's always that internal like superstition that's there, right? There is.
Yeah, either you put something on or you take something off.
Exactly, right? And if it doesn't work that week, then you got to change it up the next week, all that great stuff. And so I put it on there, and they won. And then they kept winning. And so my dog became more famous than I have ever become because like they kept winning. Like people were bringing signs of my dog in the jersey. And so to Dallas, that was one of those games where, they're the best team in the league. They got Zeke, they got Dak, they're having an incredible year. And my dad is a diehard Cowboys fan. Diehard Cowboys fan.
Are you in his will?
I don't, maybe not anymore. But that's
don't bring up the will. I mean,
no. That's actually how I became a Packers fan. Because when I was 6 years old, I went into school, and my dad, a diehard Cowboys fan, trying to raise me as such. I heard the Packers beat the Cowboys like 45-17, and I went home and I'm like, I'm a Packers fan now, and he laughed it off. And then I just did that for 27 years. So I don't know if I'm in the will anymore. It might be that might be over.
Don't send him this segment.
No,
because it might kick something in. Oh my God! Yeah, we got to take him out of the will.
Him and I went to the Des No catch game.
Oh, no, that was a catch, but
yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was ruled incomplete.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
I mean, it was confirmed to be. It was incomplete as far as I know.
One of us was very unhappy in the car ride home, and it wasn't me. So, but to your point about the Aaron Rodgers, I mean, that became the usual. In that year, especially that run the table year, like that was all Aaron Rodgers, man, because the defense wasn't good, the offense was on fire, and that was just one of the best QBs in the world doing what he does best, and it was just incredible.
What about Jordan Love this year at Dallas or in Arlington? It's just what happens.
I'm so sorry. Because to be fair, the 49ers are to us what we are to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like that's what it is. And I know
right.
we don't like the 49ers either.
Yeah.
So go Chiefs. So I think at this point, Jordan Love is such an unknown, and it was kind of a free year because either it works out, cool, or it doesn't. And like it was very ebbs and flows. Also, we got into the playoffs. We won that Week 18 game against the Bears, and going up against Dallas, 7 seed never won. It was like, it's house money. Whatever happens, I just hope they're competitive and they look good. And yeah, they look pretty good.
Yeah, look, there are two quarterbacks in that game. One of them looked like they were confident and loose and happy to be there, and the other one looked like the burden of almost 30 years was on his shoulders. And Jordan Love, like you said, was just out there gripping and ripping.
And he threw it, and some of the motions and mannerisms looked like somebody else right before him. That was what I was like, damn.
I try to tell that to people because now there's this shift. Because before the season, everyone's like, oh, Jordan Love's going to be awful because there's no way that the Packers are going to get 3 good quarterbacks in a row, right? There's no shot. And I think there's just something to be said about letting a QB sit. And you talk about the pressure that Dak Prescott's underneath. I mean, you're talking about a window where they've kind of gone all in. I know Jerry Jones is like, we'll go all in this year, I promise. But that's where the Packers were for 2020 and 2021. They're the number 1 seed, back-to-back years, and they fell short. And when you do that, like the amount of pressure, it was just so nice to just be a fan this year with no expectations of like, hey, we win some games, like awesome. Like you just got to enjoy it because when Aaron Rodgers is your QB, you're expecting Super Bowl.
My oldest brother, Robert, is a huge lifelong Packers fan. Got mad when Favre left. He kind of like looked elsewhere. But the Bart Starrs, and I'm old enough to remember that. You guys aren't. I mean, you remember the history of it, but the Bart Starrs and the Jerry Kramers and all that, that's what I think of Lombardi, et cetera.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've had this run. They've had this separate runs. And that's one thing missing with the Cowboys. They had Landry, Jimmy, and then it's been like flirtation ever since that time.
And it's like, even with Tony Romo, right? Like, there was like, okay, he could be the guy. Like, he could do that. We could put a squad around him. He's talented enough. They can go win some games. And, whether it's like botched extra points or like, stuff like that. Yeah, it just seemed like there was always something that got in the way or they ran into the wrong team.
Put that a little bit closer to you, dropped a little bit. Just want to make sure we can hear you so your dad takes you out of the will. So do you sleep tonight? Are you relaxed? Are you set for this? Is there a little anxiety?
I got to be honest, man. Like, this is my first Super Bowl. This is my first Radio Row. I've been in this business for 9 years now. I was a full-time high school social studies teacher while I was building this out. And just to be able to experience this, with other people in this industry, it's incredible. And it's like all walks of life. It's digital, it's written, it's everything. And so, there's not even any nerves. It's just like I'm just so grateful to be
journey.
Here. Yeah, and as you guys know, like just being in this business, there's very few times where you can stop and kind of reflect and be like, wow, because it's usually like next thing.
Absolutely.
Like I'm attending the Super Bowl on Sunday and I'm hopping on the red eye so I can get back to work on Monday. Like that's just what's going to happen. But while I'm here, I'm just kind of trying to take it all in. And
I want to get into one more thing. First of all, Tom Grossi with us. You've raised how much money?
So the last 3 years, we've raised $720,000 for various charities. St. Jude last year was about $512,000.
That's awesome,
in 30
man.
days.
Good for you.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
And
that
says a lot about the community of the Packers fandom, too.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, too, because like it started with just Packers, but now we kind of cover the entire NFL, obviously with still a focus on the Packers. But it was one of those things that even when I was a teacher, if I ever got a platform, I think it's like your duty to give back, right? Because like it's an insane world that we live in. It's an insane industry. There's lots of stuff going on. And I was like, if you can get, the following of people, give back to, the people, that's actually, you're going to see it in the community. And that's what we try to do.
Good luck tomorrow, man.
I appreciate
that's all.
you.
And now, otherwise I would watch it. Oh, golly, there's a guy who's a Bengals fan. And now we have our favorite.
Yeah.
You're our guy. So good luck to you, man.
I appreciate you.
All right. Now, what's the name of the podcast? Just so
so you can look at it's Packcast, but it's Tom Grossi on YouTube. That's it.
Good deal.
She's ROSSI, by the way, up for NFL Fan of the Year and joined us here in Vegas on Radio Row in Vegas on 365 Sports.
Alan Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. This is 365 Sports. Powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19. Throwing at the goal line. And it's caught by Kelsey for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Allen Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at UnitePrivateNetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
All right, special guest here. We had a U.S. Army Green Beret and Nate Boyer on earlier. These are the Air Force Thunderbirds. They're going to fly over Allegiant Stadium. In fact, Captain Turner, you're going to be on top of the roof.
That's right.
Not in the Thunderbird, but on top of the roof.
Firm. So we have 8 pilots on the team. So 6 of them will be doing the flyover. I'll be on top of the stadium calling time updates so that they can make sure that they hit right as we hit Home of the Brave.
Yeah, I've always wondered that. I've been to a lot of places where there've been the outdoor stadiums and the flyovers, and I don't know if there's even college games, the emotions of just knowing what that means. Do you get that way too? Or are you just kind of used to it?
Well, a little bit is part of the job, but anytime you can hit a TOT perfectly, you get the rush and you enjoy it with the pilots as they're hitting it too.
Natalie Winton, maintenance director. You can't fly it without it being in good shape, right?
You got it.
How much time do you spend on that?
We spend quite a bit of time. We have 2 shifts of our maintainers who work. So not 24-hour operations, but they're ready to go if they need to be, and 7 days a week if they need to be. They spend a lot of time making sure the jets are safe and a lot of time making sure they look really, really good.
It's still amazing to me. And also Randy Winther, executive officer. So do you just oversee the whole thing? Well, Garrett, is mic on? Her mic's not on. Are you there?
Hello.
There you go. Thank you, Randy. So are you like the general manager of this whole thing?
Yeah, so there's a lot of like administrative stuff that occurs, and when a pilot is trying to fly as close and precise as he does twice a day, it doesn't lead for a lot of time to do admin. So him and I split our duties, and I do the admin and he does the flying.
All right, so let's go through a normal day. Like you wake up a normal day. You guys are obviously a part of the United States Air Force, the Thunderbirds. It's an amazing, if you've never seen it before, it's amazing. Even flight shows and things like that, it's incredible. So how does the day start, let's say, for you? Are you already working on whatever parts of the plane that morning, bright and early?
Correct. Yeah, so we're the first ones to show every day. We come in 3 hours prior to our first takeoff. So we're in making sure that the jets are ready to go. You have to pull off the covers that we have installed, get the cockpit set up. So we're there 3 hours before we do our first takeoff. And we got to have our Wheaties in us because it's sometimes it's really, really early mornings. Good thing the Super Bowl's in the afternoon. We get to sleep in a little bit on Sunday.
You get a little night time.
Yeah.
Do you have like briefings and all that? Is that what you run yourself?
I don't do the briefings.
Okay.
I'll help make the schedule leading up to it. So that's also why the commander has such a long day, is because it's brief, flying, debrief, and then sometimes rinse and repeat for that.
Bryce, you've flown it, right?
I have flown next to him, so this year I'll be on the ground. I'll do all the announcing at the air shows, and then the following year I'll flow into the demonstration.
Can you try to explain, though, just being near it, like the power and the the efficiency of a Thunderbird?
Oh, absolutely. So we get very qualified pilots on the team because it takes very precise maneuvering to stay that close. We fly closer than your typical pilot would next to each other, so that requires lots of repetition because it's a perishable skill. So they'll do 2-a-days, 6 days a week to get the formation tight. We'll go 2.5 months before our first air show. So this will be our first public event of 2024.
Are you guys excited? Is anxiety, good nervous energy, is that what it's like?
Flyovers always bring so much emotion because you just are waiting for literally 1 second of the day. And so it's like, oh, cool, that was done. Wow, that was a lot to get up for that
So all
one.
those hours leading up to it and all the hours after it, it is like right there, the timing of 1 second.
Exactly. But it's great. It's like
when it hits, and you guys hit it, when it hits, what's that like for everybody?
Oh, it's an absolute rush. It's great. You love it.
Yeah.
You're just up there cheering.
And there's teams that are someone's going to lose on Sunday. If it's a half a second off, is that a disappointment?
Yes.
Is it really?
We pride ourselves on literally like the most perfect thing, almost unbelievable attention to detail is what we say. So having that type of precise air power that's given, we don't want it to be, it'll be like lukewarm if we miss.
Yeah.
You know?
So, okay, you have players who are in the NFL for the Chiefs and obviously the 49ers. Some of them, obviously, most of them played college football. Then some of them have been waived by other teams or cut. Some of them have had to bounce back from an injury or whatever. Do you have like a rotation of pilots? No?
No. So the 6 demonstration pilots that will fly over for the Super Bowl for the flyover.
These are the 6.
These are the 6 demonstration pilots for the United States Air Force Thunderbirds for 2024. There's no backups, there's no fill-ins, there's no time off. Like if someone is sick, we have a flight doc, so if that doctor can help get them well to fly, they will do everything possible to get there. But we also have contingency shows for regular air shows. But right now we are doing all of the things, including vitamin C and well rest and hydration to get us there.
In Vegas, of all places, right? To make sure they stay focused on what it is. So 6, and that's it for the rest of the year, and it's February.
Correct. And then in November of 2024, we will trade out half of those people. So 3 people will move on, one of which will move up, and we'll hire 2 new people this year.
What would it mean to you if you ever got that call or you were told that you're moving up?
Well,
I mean, that's
it'll
what you
be
expect to
expected,
do, right? Yeah.
So as long as boss doesn't fire me this year, I'm
you the
looking
boss?
forward. That's true. She could be the one that fires me. So.
Can you try to explain? You talk about this 1 second, and I've been at flyovers as a fan or in a media setting, watched it on television, and to me, it's an emotional rush. My father was military, and it just, you don't have to be military or have been a military brat to feel that. But can you try to explain in all your different ways the efficiency of what that 1 second and how long it takes to make sure you do it?
Well,
in all the different roles we have here.
So getting to that 1 second starts from the very beginning of winter training. So as soon as we got the team together in December, it was them practicing, again, twice a day so they could get in the formation position and be tight enough to absorb any kind of airspeed changes the boss will be required to do to hit that 1 second. For the ground crew, we did 2 run-throughs this morning. We'll come back on Friday. We'll listen to the national anthem practice. We'll see kind of how that timing flows. We're talking to the production box. We're talking to everyone just so we can make sure that we have a good idea of what that time will be to hit that plus or minus 0 seconds. And then on game day, we'll have to make audibles as required, just like the players will on the field.
Audibles, there's a football word. Quarterback calls audibles, right? Offensive linemen have their audibles.
So we may have to call those.
You're essentially the quarterback of this in terms of like 2 T changes and stuff like that.
Potentially, yeah.
Like, boss is there executing, and he's the one that's helping that execution hit the mark. So
what was it like this morning to wake up? It's been nasty. The weather's been iffy, but this morning was crystal clear for the most part because I ran a little bit this morning, and it was gorgeous. I mean, you could see the snow-capped mountains, etc. What was that like to get that today?
So I will say, I think I have one of the greatest jobs on this team, which is coming out onto the flight line, and I can see Vegas from where we walk out on the flight line. So having a clear day and being able to see all of Las Vegas from where we're about to launch those jets is the coolest thing. When you can't do that, it's not a great day.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask an obvious question. It's an indoor stadium. It's a dome. It's Allegiant Stadium, and there's more and more of those now than ever before. Does that make a difference?
For the flyover timing and how we're going to hit it, absolutely not. We're going to be 500 feet over the stadium, so everybody inside is going to feel the reverb, the building shake. They'll see the shadows as they go over. But we're doing this not just for the people in the stadium, but for everyone watching on TV. So they'll get a nice, good view as we come soaring across.
Randy, what's it like to be a part of the military and be a part of the United States, those who help protect our freedom?
Yeah, it's pretty much of a speechless answer to that. I don't really know how to actually answer that because it's more of like a feeling, and I don't think I'll ever know my impact until like 20 years when it's my time to like walk away from the Air Force, and then I have that phone call from someone that perhaps I supervise, and they're like, hey, thanks for like guiding me through X, Y, and Z or something like that. But I followed my mom in her footsteps through the military.
I was going to ask you how you got into this, yeah.
And I think now seeing her be proud of my career, I'm like, yeah, Mom, I did it. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Whereas now she's just kind of like living it up. And I think that's probably when I will actually have that like aha moment.
Natalie, how'd you get into it? What was the connection?
Both of my parents were in the Air Force as well.
Okay.
And that inspired me. I grew up doing this, living on base, and that sense of community that we have is absolutely fantastic. And I wanted to give that to a future family as well.
Bryce, same thing?
Same thing. My dad was a pilot in the Air Force, and growing up, I just wanted to do exactly what he did.
Was he flying during some of the I guess, engagements we've had around the world?
Yeah, so he flew in Desert Storm and Allied Force.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, thank God, everything good, everything. As a military, Brad, you were talking about living on base, and you know, we hear about the melting pot of the United States. We hear about people getting along, different cultures, different races, different religions, or whatever. Is there a better place to learn that than on an Air Force or Army or any kind of installation that's a military base?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you like the whole country to be like what we experienced? And I'm much older than you, of what I learned about other people. We are one.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on the military bases all the time. And I went to a high school. One of the few high schools was on the Air Force Base in Japan.
Yep.
And then also in San Antonio, Randolph Air Force Base. And I just wish people could experience that have not had that opportunity. Can you kind of put that into words rather than what I'm saying, or not?
No, I mean, I think you said it like really good. I mean, it's almost like it's a melting pot of people and different types of backgrounds, and it's even like different states too. You know, if you just stay in your own community, you like eat the same food, see the same people, know the same things, but like even meeting like 2 people from Colorado and Virginia and just being like, oh, cool, like never had I thought I was going to go to Virginia. Like there's an expert, you know, you don't have to like resort to Google to like figure out the good places, like figure out what the locals do, and then you're not going to waste any time having fun.
You mentioned the game's late, and I know you guys got to go to other. It's great to have. This is great. When I asked if we could get you, I wasn't sure we're going to get you, and it's great you're here. What's it like on game day? You have a long wait, and sometimes if you're an athlete, man, you got to make sure you keep that schedule from getting too high too early or peaking early. What's that like for each of you on game day, so to speak, of what is a flyover?
Yeah, so game day will be early for us. We're going to get to the stadium before anybody else, any of the rest of the crowd. Essentially, as the stadium crew shows up, we'll show up and we'll start setting up radios, line of sight, and all of our communications that we'll have with the broadcast booth. And then really we'll just be waiting for that 1 second to come up.
And will you be at the base, obviously in a hangar or whatever you're going to be at?
I will, yeah. So I will be on a headset just like this, working through the aircraft launches while also being comms with Triple. He goes by Triple.
Okay.
8 here. And so I'm making sure that everything before they get off, they launch, goes as smoothly as possible so that we can meet his timeline that he's providing us.
And then you will be where?
I will be at the base with 11 here, and then collectively we will take all of her maintainers that are on launching the jets, recovering the jets, a couple other people in collective of about 50 people. We'll get on a school bus and we'll all drive down to the stadium together to meet the ground crew that will be there this early.
Randy Winter, Natalie Winton, and also Bryce, Captain Turner, and all of you. Golly. So what is your rank?
Captain.
Major.
Major.
No, Major. That's
Yes.
right. I know that. That's my dad was a major, finished as a lieutenant colonel, and I loved being a military kid. Loved it. I wish I could have been like. I loved that life. Japan, Guam, D.C. My dad was at the Pentagon. Randolph, Luke, and I'm so glad you guys I'm glad we had a chance to listen to you. God bless for every one of you for serving our country, and also good luck on Sunday.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much. We're live at the Super Bowl Radio Row NFL Media Headquarters inside the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected, get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
In our logo and advertising, we say we are people that you can count on. What does that mean? It starts with providing a quality vehicle and quality service at a fair price. But it also means we do what we say we will do, and we treat people fairly with respect. It starts by hiring great people, good local folks who work hard with a caring attitude. Our employees are the real reason we are people that you can count on. Put us to the test and see for yourself that at Richard Carr Motors, we are people you can count on.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Our good friend Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jewelers here at 365 Sports. Now, Brad, people who watch and listen to our show know I'm a double-time customer for you, engagement ring and wedding band, and you guys do that great, but that's not all you do at Boozer's Jewelers.
Absolutely. And I always like to say, it's a new year. It's a great way to start the year out. Go through your old jewelry. Go through your wife's jewelry box. Go through anything you're maybe not wearing, something that's broken, something that you're not using. We do a massive amount of custom work. We can take your old jewelry, old diamonds, old watches, and we can convert it into something special for you and make a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. And if that's not something you're interested in, a great thing is we can turn that into cash. So we buy gold, we buy diamonds, we'll buy Rolex watches, any kind of heirloom jewelry, anything that's maybe passed down to you.
Boozer's Jewelers, where do they find you, Brad?
We're at 1025 North Valley Mills Drive, right on the corner of Lake Air Drive and Valley Mills with the big clock on the corner.
This is 365 Sports. Are you a Sikkim 365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
There's a lot of media yesterday with the story of a streaming type hub. And Patrick Crakes, executive, network executive, will join us in a moment. Consultant, former soldier, will join us here in just a moment. There is this news that ESPN has announced, and this is the least surprising possible news, based on Nick Saban, that he will join College Game Day. When he did a sit-down interview with Reese Davis, I think it was the night that he had announced his retirement, the day after the retirement, he sat down with Reese Davis, and he made all but yes, that's what he's going to probably do. So he will join College Game Day and be a part of that great show that is not everybody likes it, but Nick Saban being involved will be. I don't watch it as much, mainly because we're on ourselves or doing something prior to being on the air, but Nick Saban being a part of College Game Day is going to be fantastic. Patrick Crakes, network executive consultant, soldier. Patrick, we had Nate Boyer, U.S. Army Green Beret, and we just had pilots from the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. I thought we'd share that with you today.
That is fantastic. I saw the special operations soldier on your Twitter feed. That's fantastic. All I can bring to the table is paratrooper, but I'll do the best I can. That's great. You guys have had those guys on. It's Armed Forces Day.
Yeah, it is. Yes. It is, and we're proud of you for serving as a paratrooper. That's an awesome experience in what you did too. So when yesterday's story came out, I think most people didn't know exactly when it was going to come out. You've discussed this with us before. Bob Thompson brought it up as well. When you saw what it actually was, what was your reaction?
We're talking about the three-headed streaming monster of Fox, Discovery, and Disney, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So look, I think it's part of a natural evolution. About 3 years ago, I wrote an article for Sports Pro talking about what the future of media evolution looked. At that time, back in 2000, there was we have a lot of this highly specialized, what we would call segmented marketing, kind of DTC products everywhere and a la carte and stuff. And I was having none of that. The economics of the business were built on bundling. And both on the revenue side and the content side followed it. You're not going to match those economics by having a bunch of specialized services, cobbled together. So you're going to have to rebundle somehow. It won't look like the old bundle, which was a natural monopoly. It won't be as profitable for sure, but you had to do some kind of rebundling. So when I saw it, it made sense. I think it's just, but it's not a table flip. I feel it more as a process of an evolution. I've always called this not a revolution, an evolution. And this is the next part of it. What's going to be the most interesting about it is that they have to keep the pay TV distributors happy, because this venture is not going to make near as much money as they still make from pay TV. They have to keep all those economics flowing, or else the whole thing doesn't make any sense. So how they go about pricing this and how the distributors involved are very important questions that have to be answered, of which we know nothing yet. So there's just so much to learn. Aside from viewing this as kind of the next step in the evolution, I try not to get too excited about it because it seems to make logical sense.
Pat, for those who say this is just cable again in a different format, what do you say to that?
Well, it's not cable again because it doesn't have any ability to scale while it's still forcing prices upon people and customer commitment. So it's a rebundling of content, an attempt to try to provide more value to subscribers, but it's offering a route to a significant amount of sports content, although not everything, on a digital platform, right? So consumers now have a lot of different places to get this. It doesn't offer every sporting event. I mean, the cable system gave you every sporting event. This isn't cable. When people say that, it's just not cable. It doesn't give you everything. Cable gave you everything. That's why it scaled. And this isn't going to give you everything. So it's not cable. It's a digital content offering alliance that isn't, my understanding is it's not going to have everything on all these channels on it, by the way. So there's another detail we have to find out. I would imagine most, but not all. I don't know what that means, but it's not going to have exactly everything. And but it will be cooperative, I believe, with the distributors. In particular, it will help the distributors' broadband businesses. And if you look at the past September's Charter, which is Spectrum, and Disney deal, what you saw was Charter negotiated successfully to stop really paying for some of the entertainment content that had found its way over to Disney Plus on those Disney channels. And instead, but they gave Disney all the price rises they wanted for their sports. And what they basically said was, look, give us the Disney Plus ad-supported channels to our broadband customers for no fee. So if you're a Charter customer, you can now watch Disney Plus ad-supported for free. And that kind of cooperation with the distributors is what I would suspect that they will, that this alliance, right, that's going to have its own organization, own CEO, will look to negotiate with, while at the same time keeping all the economics that flow from regular pay TV for sports. You'll keep that spigot on for all three companies.
How much do you think what was released yesterday as one would cost? And what would be a fair price, in your opinion, if you could even get to that point? Or how much do you think it will have to cost for them to get what they need to, and also the consumer doesn't feel like, oh my God, here's another X amount of money?
Yeah, I think that, so first of all, no consumer is going to have this. It's going to be non-exclusive. So there'll be other ways to get this content, including have a traditional pay TV bundle. But the real way to answer that question, Smokey, is to talk about the difference between bundled pricing and unbundled pricing. A lot of people hear about what cable channels cost, right? An RSN, for example, typically costs $6. ESPN is $10, now on its way to $11. Those are bundled prices. They're wholesale prices that are offered because you get this giant package of content that subsidizes and builds each other. When you break out those individual channels on their own, if they were standalone on a retail basis, they're much more expensive. The tell in that is, for example, Nesson Plus, which is the Red Sox RSN. That offering is something called Nesson Plus. It's a streaming option. For the Red Sox, it offers the same identical content that Nesson does inside the RSN footprint. It costs $29.99 a month for about 140 Red Sox games, no playoffs. None of the games on regular season games on national networks. That's the unbundled price of Nesson Plus. And the reason why they priced it that way was because if the pricing is competitive with the bundled price of Nesson inside a pay TV bundle of about $8, $9, the distributor has the unequivocal right to turn off the money spigot immediately. So you can't price it without the distributor's permission at anything other than the unbundled price. The closer you get to the bundled price, the more it's likely the distributor is going to kick you in the teeth and cut off 100% of the economics that pay for everything. And it all comes from pay TV. So when we talk about what this is going to be priced, the question about distributor cooperation is key. If the distributors are on board with this, then it can be priced closer to the bundled price. I've seen some people suggest $30 a month. That might be, the bundled price for all of us together. It feels a little low because remember, we've got content from ABC on Fox on here, and those retransmission fees alone for those two broadcast networks are about on their way, $8, $9 a month. So that's $18 right there. But if it's unbundled, I did an estimate for a client of an informed one of ESPN. I came up with on its own $65 a month. So I just don't, that question is not really about what's fair. It's about how the distributor wants to cooperate with this entity, with this new venture, And the pricing will have everything to do about whether the distributor is a part of the upside in the scaling of this business, or whether they view it as something they don't need to participate in, and that'll be the tell about whether the distributor is on board or not. If it's priced unbundled or close to unbundled, it won't scale. It just doesn't have any chance to scale it. Nessun Plus is not designed to scale. Neither are the Bally Sports RSN DTC products at $19.99. They're really effectively marketing for a pay TV channel bundle. So my expectation is the distributors will cooperate with this. The Disney Charter deal kind of shows us a way for that to happen. I called that at the time a re-imaging of the pay TV bundle. But there's no guarantees here that out of the box they'll be able to negotiate that. So, what's fair is beside the point. It's what makes the business work and keeps the economics from pay TV flowing while you attempt to try to build these new digital businesses.
Pat, do you expect that if this is, in fact, as successful as they want it to be, that maybe other people would want to join in? I mean, this is three companies that don't normally work together on things, but they are here in this. Could Peacock get interested? Could some of these other ones join this gigantic streaming service that we're going to have?
Yeah, so there's a couple things there. So first of all, I don't know that we know what the definition of success is here.
Yeah.
Somebody called this the winner's bundle. I'm calling it the staying alive bundle because it feels like the best we can do is kind of preserve the status quo. Forget about going back to growth or even getting back to the economics of the past. I don't know if that's possible because the natural monopoly pay TV bundle is gone and not coming back. So it's a different era. But, if it's successful, first of all, Disney and Fox do cooperate. We cooperated on content that we held as partners jointly. When I was at Fox, my programming group did that with the ESPN programming group and in other ventures. In Asia and Latin America, there were joint ventures with ESPN. There still, I believe, are a couple in Australia. I could be wrong. So there is a history of cooperation between two of these companies, and the WBD, the Turner, TNT, whatever, is kind of different than ESPN and Fox. So there's not a lot. It seems to fit in that box well with them. But there's cooperation between Fox and ESPN. When it comes to NBC, NBC is owned by a pay TV distributor. And that would seem to, create more obstacles to their cooperation with this. Or maybe their feeling is they don't even have to cooperate. And then Paramount is going through what I think is probably a year to 18 months, just complete restructuring of what's happening over there. I don't know if they're prepared to do any of this at the moment. So could you eventually see, though, a way to rebundle all the content? Yes. And I think that we move to a place in the future where it's possible to get everything together under one kind of maybe bill or one kind of set, but I don't know there's any way to unify all the content again. Remember, that old pay TV bundle unified all the content you wanted to see. And it had a one bill, expensive, but it was in one place, and everything was in one place in one bill, and you could turn it on, you could find stuff using that really bad EPG everybody hated, but ended up turning to be the best way to discover content, which is the irony behind all of this, right? Mm-hmm. Then everybody wanted this. Now it's all been hit with a sledgehammer and it's like been spread out everywhere. Putting it all back together to cooperate, even if something's successful, is going to be very, very hard because of the pricing, the scaling question. And I think that in the long run, the real answer is that era of getting everything in one place for one price on one bill is over.
Yep. And
we're going to go back to the early era. If you guys remember back prior to 2000, not every game was on TV. And certainly not every game was on pay TV. And I think that consumers are going to have to pay more for the content they want, and they're going to get less of what they want. Because you're just not going to get everything unless you're prepared to pay.
Yeah, we've been
I think
spoiled.
that's just what the future looks like.
We've become very spoiled with getting. What do you mean the game's on ESPN Plus? But at least it's on ESPN Plus or whatever it might be. Alex Sherman's a media reporter. He said Bob Iger announces ESPN flagship D2C product will be launched in the fall of 2025, maybe as early as August.
Yeah, I mean that'll be another consumer option. for folks who want 25% of all the sports media content. So, I think that that's necessary to do, but anyone expecting that to be a replacement for what we had, and we had all the content together in one place, nobody really expects that. All these DTC products and ideas are necessary part of this distribution of this evolution, because you're trying to preserve the declining economics from the pay TV bundle while you're trying to build new businesses. But the problem is that the new businesses are enormously unprofitable. Disney boasted in their earnings call today, that they went from losing about $1 billion something last, comparable quarter a year ago, I think, to only losing $250 million. I think by my count, they've lost $16 billion in 3 years on streaming. And the solution to fixing that problem is to not spend any money. So they're not investing in the business. That's what everybody's doing to fix it. It's an entertainment side problem, but now it's becoming a sports side problem. So at the end of the day, you should launch all these things to give consumers choice. But the question is, how do you bundle them? What do you price them at? We're still not anywhere near to figuring out this business model, just so that it's consistently break even and you can pay the content providers what they want, because the stable revenues are gone, right? We don't have those anymore. And so we have a content cost revenue mismatch. But in the meantime, you have to build these digital businesses, because you're not going to ever figure this out if you don't build them. And the Alliance, I guess we're calling it, is one way to do this. ESPN probably feels the need to control their own destiny to have a DTC product. But, anybody expecting this thing to scale at 100 million subs that are paying, $100 a month is probably dreaming, which is, what the pay TV bundle in the past did, which is how it built the modern media business and sports media business. But we don't have that revenue engine anymore. And we don't even really know what it's going to look like in the future.
I got a question to wrap it up. And Patrick, we always appreciate it. By the way, on the super chat, thank you to the paratrooper from some Kim, super chat money to what we do. Have you ever seen in your lifetime in the media, as a consultant, as an executive, and what you do, have you ever seen a more, not bizarre, but so many things juggling right now at one time?
I think I think there's a lot going on. If you think about the digital revolution, enables so many specific things. It's done that with media, but it's also done it in a way that makes everything less valuable. We used to have this, when we were going through this transition in 2000, we used to have this joke at Fox, because it was something that we did. How do you make $1 billion disappear? The answer is buy MySpace, and which we did, right? And we used to talk about analog or linear dimes becoming digital pennies, and it seems that unless you have some kind of quasi-like monopoly, like Google and search, or Facebook and social sharing, or Google, if you don't, or Amazon in online retail sales, right? It's hard to really get a lion's share of what economists call consumer surplus that in the old world used to be shared kind of 50-50 between the business and the consumer. The consumer in the digital world gets like 90% of it, 95% of it. It's been great for consumers so far, but it's been challenging for businesses. So these businesses are all predicated upon, natural monopoly economics. The media business rests upon that. We don't have those anymore. So the digital, the options and flexibility of digital, which are great for consumers, are coming, creating a real lot difficult for media businesses that, are really rooted in their cost structures and the revenue expectations in the past that doesn't exist anymore. So how we evolve going forward the next 5 years are going to be fascinating, because at some point the content costs have to match the revenue, but at the same time, these things all have enormous value. You just have to figure out what the model is. So yeah, it's a crazy time for sure.
Patrick, do you ever actually attend a Super Bowl as executive or as a network guy or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been to, I can't remember, 10 or 12 Super Bowls as a network executive in some form or fashion. So I've been to more than my fair share.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to ask. Thank you, sir, for your advice, insight, knowledge. Appreciate you trying to help break all this down for the consumer and those who watch our show. Thank you so much, Patrick Crates, again, executive consultant, soldier, paratrooper, and he tried to downplay that. Okay, that's awesome. That's an awesome part of it. And thanks again for the super chat to that, Tim, from Kim Coulter.
I just had a question I would have asked the Thunderbirds that just popped into my head. Had we had enough headsets, is any of their favorite movie not Top Gun?
That's a great question. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a wealth of.
I'm going to go hunt them down.
Of fighter pilot movies out there. There's
Randy,
Top
Natalie,
Gun.
and Bryce. I'm going to go ask
Yeah, they're
them.
right there.
Yeah.
They're right there.
Bryce, are any of you your favorite movie not Top Gun? Yes. That's what
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So it's okay. Just making sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, yes,
no,
it is.
No, they
Yeah.
don't. No, they said no. It's not. Right? It's not. It's
Oh.
not. Yes, it's not. So it's kind of like I would maybe.
It's like the fire shows and the firemen. They don't want that's.
No. Yeah.
They answered that emphatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I feel like I just wondered. Maybe it's Iron Eagle. That's a deep cut, Lou Gossett Jr.
I saw that one. So they said no to Top Gun quickly. One or
because
two.
that was the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mike Bean.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that.
They want it on the
Mike
record.
Bean, the cable and satellite is television's Titanic. Kim Coulter, I have 4 couples arriving here tomorrow for my Super Bowl week party. And Kim's got that outdoor kitchen. My God,
Yeah.
I bet that's going to be amazing.
So
might even have a cigar to light up and enjoy.
I have a quick question for you. I saw Mad Dog talking about this on another show today. He doesn't want to go to a Super Bowl party. He wants to do it. You're not a Super Bowl party guy, are you?
I wasn't when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, there was and I don't even know if they still have this anymore. It was the ticket, obviously the game, but the ticket was not the media party, because if you have a credential, you're invited to that. Media day, you have a credential, you're going to be at that. Was the NFL Commissioners Party, which was very high level, swank, live bands, food, everything you could imagine, different sectors. And I went to that several times. That
But
would,
no, when I say
th-
Super Bowl party, I mean game, sitting in the room with people and wings and pizza and watching the game.
How many have I done that? I bet I've been to 2 of those, and I'm 65 years old almost.
Yeah, I mean, you've
Maybe
been to
2 of them.
a lot of Super
Well, one of
Bowls.
the other problems is, and I'm not saying this, this is my 30th radio row, and probably, and I'm not going to the game, 24, 23, 24 games, so you don't do that. And then now what I do is I just kind of really I'll get up, maybe go play golf that morning, and then get home in time and just chill and watch the game by myself.
Yeah.
You've never invited me over to I wouldn't want to be over there with the angry one.
Coming on the show on Monday, apparently.
Yeah, but we have not negotiated that. We discussed some of the parameters.
Oh, look, she was very excited.
I know, but and even more reason to maybe nix that.
Oh, no, you're going to be in trouble.
But I breathe. I'm in trouble when I breathe.
Yeah, I mean, just, she's
I don't know, because I think the reason she accepted, at least we have not come to terms, but she accepted it because Baylor's at Kansas Saturday. And I'm not so sure she would have done that had it been Kansas at Baylor.
Yeah.
Because of their road issues this year.
Well, look, the road issues, especially the last 2 years when they've come to Waco.
No, yeah.
I mean,
so I don't know if Amanda's wanting to do this because she feels so cocky and confident on Kansas hosting Baylor. So it'd be a good show for her. We don't want her when she's happy, joy. We want her on the depths of the depth of despair. Like,
oh, you want?
I want her Tuesday, after Kansas State.
You want her
in her real mood.
The people to experience
what you experience.
What I experienced.
Yeah, I don't want her to hey, hi everyone, it's Christmas Day, KU won. I want her at her flaming, angry, bitter, Bill Self should be fired moment.
Oh, well, I guess we'll see what happens on Saturday.
We'll see.
See what happens on Saturday.
All right, now, Kim Coulter, who are the shows in the booths behind us? There's 150 of these booths. We're one of them. In front of us is a Fox Sports show, 105.5 The Beat.
That's ESPN Radio right there.
ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
There's the Las Vegas Convention Center. You see the girls with the long, big hair, looks like New Orleans. The hats? Yeah, that's
showgirls.
Vegas. Showgirls.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I mean, there's
Roman Gabriel the third, his podcast behind us.
There's dozens. There's I think when I saw the list of stations who are here on Radio Row, I think there are like 8 or 9 from the state of Texas. There's we from Central Texas, although we represent such a big swath of what we're doing. My old station, I used to work out with our great friend Bill Coates in Tyler. I think there's a station or two out of Houston. There's another Ticket and the Fan from Dallas. And there's a couple of other podcaster stuff that's kind of popped up along the way. In San Antonio with Jason Minix and his group.
Yeah.
I saw him earlier too.
Yeah,
All right.
there's a lot, like every year there's random people I don't know, but
no, this is
my twin Mike Gill from Atlantic City is here. Remember Mike?
I do remember Mike. Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to get Mike over here on the show so people can see.
You're trying to get Amanda on the show. Now you're trying to get Mike Gill on the show. We got to have executive meetings. You know how I am about meeting before the show.
We've never done it.
I know, so we're not going to do it
ever
again.
once.
Hey, Darren Woodson, great Cowboys player, up for the Hall of Fame again. That's not all we're going to talk about. We're going to discuss some other things that Darren Woodson's working on as well. He'll join us at 5:20. Former Broncos and NFL defensive back Nick Ferguson, who's now at radio in Denver, and Paul's Top 5 a little bit around the corner. This is 365 Sports.
Alan Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
National Signing Day. We hit on that a little bit earlier today. In fact, we were going to run the interview. It's a long interview with Grayson Grundhafer, and Baylor signed 2 players today, a safety from down in the Houston area, Lair, who was committed to Washington, was going to sign with the University of Washington, and then changed his mind when DeBoer left, and that it was A&M, it was Garrett Ross's LSU Tigers, and Baylor. And apparently, Baylor was one of those that got on him very, very early. And that's the way it is sometimes with a school. They'll get on somebody pretty quickly, and the next thing you know, here comes some of the bullies, the blue bloods and whatever, because then they get on them. But if you're Baylor and TCU or Tech or whatever, you got to get on some of these guys early. Sometimes you lose them along the way because people start to know more about them. So he was going to go to Washington. He picked Baylor, and he remember Texas. He was talking to them. It looked like, and again, that's one of the things they would do is, okay, wait a minute, we may need this or that. Did not work out. So Grayson spoke with him. This is about a couple of minutes when Grayson spoke with Alex Foster from Greenville High School in Mississippi. Just 2 minutes.
So they marked all, checked all the boxes.
What were those boxes that you needed to have checked?
First box was, feel like a second home. Second box was, getting to know everyone, not just one person. Or how they treated me, afterwards, afterwards, and after I committed, even now, even though I waited on signing, even now, all of that.
I do want to ask you a little bit. Baylor had kind of a tough season this year. What were your kind of thoughts on, the struggles that Baylor had and how they can bounce back from it?
I really had too many thoughts on it. I knew like this is gonna be my team. But eventually, then I was talking to the other 24. They were like, "We gonna change this around. We gonna come in. We gonna change. We can build something here." And then we had got more players than we seeing all the transfer when the transfer put open. Then great players come to. I was like, "Yeah, we can build something."
That's Alex Foster, Greenville, Mississippi, on his commitment and signing this morning with Baylor. Lair, the safety out of the Houston area, was also somebody that they picked up who was he was the one headed to Washington. I got a mixed. Foster was committed to Baylor for a long time, but then Texas got him and a couple of others, but he stuck with his commitment to Baylor. Lair is the one committed to Washington, changed his mind when DeBoer left, but he also was involved. Garrett Ross sent him a check, money, cash, under the table stuff for Sports LSU. NFL media headquarters. What are we doing? What?
Just did a glitch. Just a glitch.
No, but I couldn't talk because there was an interview we were doing.
Yeah. No, it's fine. We're fine. We're okay.
All right, we're going to take a break here. Also, if you look at the various, I'm going to, okay, there's On 3, there's Rivals, there's 247. Let me go to that one, okay? 247. I know that there's others. As far as football recruiting, let's see here. Team rankings. Teams to rankings, football recruiting. Here we go. Team rankings. Here is, I'm going to read just these two off. Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Miami, Ohio State, 1 through 5. Texas, LSU, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Auburn, 6 through 10. That's 247. On 3, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, Texas, LSU, Auburn, Oklahoma, and Florida. Those are the 10 for the on3.com. So different. Florida State, by the way, Paul, around 12. Baylor's not going to be in that mix. Outside of Texas and Oklahoma, the very next highest rated team in the Big 12, and this is something, was Texas Tech at 23. Joey McGuire in Tech at 23. Nebraska, Matt Rule in at number 24. And they picked up a young man today who was committed to Washington, changed his mind because of DeBoer, was going to go to UCLA, and the Chip Kelly stuff bothered him. He signed a 4-star type player with Nebraska today.
Yeah, well, hey, look, I'm the portal's probably looks like it's about to be open for UCLA.
It could be. That's another one. It's a domino effect.
Because, and in a weird time, I mean, basically the portal's going to be open for them for spring. I mean, like, that's going to be the spring window, but UCLA's roster it's going to be weird. And how hard is it going to be to hire a coach? In February.
And who's it going to be? Is it going to be another place where then you open up somebody else's players?
Yeah, I mean, so that would be something else. But I anticipate Chip Kelly getting that job. I mean, I don't think he goes up in interviews if they're not probably serious about it because of the the position it puts UCLA in, unless he just doesn't care. But
It sounds like he's looking for a parachute.
I don't think he's look. You can say what you want about Chip Kelly. I don't think he's that reckless, because then look, it's going to be harder to get a job if you totally burned a bridge at UCLA.
Yeah, if you stay now, you may have undermined your own talent.
Yeah, exactly.
Rivals had Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Oklahoma, Auburn, Notre Dame, and Clemson. So pretty much all, maybe 14 teams among the 10 on the various recruiting sites, depending on which one you looked at. All right, coming up, Darren Woodson up for the Hall of Fame again. Man, he's been passed over. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss the Cowboys. We'll discuss also what he's involved with. Radio Row, NFL Media Headquarters in Las Vegas on 365 Sports. Samantha Duvall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being, from what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction, along with being able to bid online for people that are not local.
Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that?
What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay.
Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing?
After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing, because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. So we've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers.
Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers.
You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak. We've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown.
Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Thank you for calling your local Marco's Pizza. We're turning up the heat with our new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Fresh, house-made dough is topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. At only $5.99, this limited-time product is a hot deal. Add it to your order while you can. A Marco's team member will be with you shortly.
Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, and that offer on the Reaper Cheesy Bread is available right now at any of the 5 Marco's Pizza locations in Waco, including Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Woodway, and Hewitt. Order online at Marcos.com. Call for a pickup or delivery. Marco's Pizza is turning up the heat with their all-new Reaper Cheesy Bread with fresh, hot, house-made dough topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. And only $5.99 and for a limited time only. Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in Waco. And the new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Enjoying the show? Hit the like button and subscribe.
A couple of you on the chat room when Paul asked about Super Bowl parties. Some of you like to watch it by yourself.
I go back and forth, and I've been to 4 games. Well, I'll call it 3.5 because the Atlanta one was the year after they changed the policy because of the great jersey theft.
Which means that we had a credential. If you had a credential covering the game, a specific one, you could go into the post-game locker rooms of each team, winning or losing team, and still get more outside of what they were on a podium underneath the stadium?
Yes. So usually they would let you walk around and go into the game, and then you go into a place in the stadium and do it. Well, they just put us back in the queue. Had the Game Pass, and then I had the other one, and we got there, and they're like, no, you got to go back to the convention center. So I had to go sit in the least decorated room I've ever been in my life and watch the Super Bowl on a television slightly bigger than my laptop. And I thought, well, this is kind of a bummer, but at least I was there, and I didn't have to hear Maroon 5 screech into my ears live. So
you give them more publicity, and you hate them.
No, look, it's one of those things where I aim to take them down. No.
They're performing here in Vegas, and it's sold out.
Yeah, I bought all the tickets, and I'm not going to go. I want them to watch. I want them to walk out to an empty stadium and feel that pain.
But no, you understand what I'm saying here.
Yeah, I do.
You hate them.
Yes.
Like Rascal Flatts.
Uh-huh.
But you bring them up. You're the one that brings them up.
Yeah, I get it.
That's like
I know
an ex.
it's kind of
like I hate it. An ex who broke up with you.
It's kind of counterproductive.
Yeah,
I get it.
It is.
I get it, but sometimes I just need my feelings out.
As long as it makes you feel better, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, look. Here's the thing. I'm not going to win, but if I can,
you're not.
If I can unite other people,
like those who want to eliminate Taylor Swift, they're beating their heads against the wall.
If I can unite other people in my cause, maybe I'll make friends. But when it comes to Super Bowl parties, I do like them sometimes, but it has to be with the right kind of people who really are genuinely invested in the game, because you can go to some that people aren't. And I really genuinely, as a sports broadcaster, that is my career, I'm invested in the game. I want to see how it goes. I'm really into it. I want to talk to people who are also that way. So if you're there because you're like, oh, I can't wait to see the halftime show, then that's not where I want to be.
That's what makes it so special as far as the ratings bonanza. The one, people just can't get enough of the NFL, but because it's more than a game. It's the entertainment. It's the entertainment. It's much more than just the game. It's a national anthem and all of that goes on. Is this your twin?
Yeah, I didn't even call him over. But look,
I didn't even know that, but I saw him.
Come here. Sit down on camera. Darren Woodson in a second.
We might just knock him off. When Woodson walks up,
he's off. So
by my table.
Okay, so this is Mike Gill.
This is Paul's brother.
Atlantic City.
I had black on last night.
Yeah. So look at.
We only wear black, us heavy guys.
Yeah. I want everybody.
Hey.
All right. I want everybody to see. Hold on.
Oh, I need to move over.
Let me see what the. Yeah. Thank God.
I have the picture from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I do have it in my phone. You want it?
Yeah.
Can you get it? Do you have enough
No, we
ability
can't.
to do it?
Yeah,
I can show it to the camera.
We can't. All right, hold on. Let's lean in. We can lean in.
No, the camera's not on both of you.
Oh. No, I can't. Okay. Yeah. So lean in right there.
All right. There we go.
Yeah.
No, Paul, you lean left.
Okay,
there we
I'm
go.
leaning left.
No, you lean left. Put it on the other camera, Garrett. There, lean left, Paul. Mike, you lean left.
This way?
Yes.
Okay.
Now. Okay.
Oh, well, there we go. Okay, look.
Oh, dear God.
Okay, but I think people.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
People know. People can see.
There we go.
That we
got
are
you.
in fact twins.
When you both came together, it froze.
The genesis was we both had the same maroon shirt on.
Yeah.
In Miami when I met him, and I knew Q, his former partner over there, and I was telling him, and he started walking with him. He said, "You guys are dressed exactly the same, and you look alike."
Yeah.
I have the picture. I will show you.
Was that the one when we lost tickets to the game?
Yeah, we found the lost tickets to the game.
We found somebody left 6 tickets to the game
agent
at their Radio Row location.
That's unbelievable.
And we actually turned it into security.
Oh, I thought you were going to do like an on-air caller 7.
I would, yes.
A viewer 7. Now you're viewers, right?
Yeah, viewers.
I love it.
Yes, viewers. But so you guys got to meet each other. You stay in touch and
we do.
Meet halfway. And
we got routed in
the
Phoenix.
only reason we stay in touch is my girlfriend wants to go to Waco.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to see the
Magnolia. Chip and Joanna.
So I said, I know a guy. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk to him ever.
There's a lot of people like that, Paul.
But yeah, no, look.
Here you go. Here you go.
Oh, dear God, I remember that picture. I do. Oh, my God.
I don't know that there's a camera you can put that up on.
Yeah, here, let me see that. How?
Yeah, just.
This is like I'm confused. This camera's on you, or it looks like it's on me,
There we
but
go.
is it on you? Are you that big?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I get the skinny camera. You guys get the other one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
That's
Garrett.
the genesis of the picture.
Yeah, there it is.
Of the meeting.
No, that's pretty good, Garrett. Good job.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I did not know him ever. I didn't know his name, nothing. And then that's when I met him.
Yeah.
You guys should one day text before the radio row and, hey, what shirt you wearing?
Well, last night, I texted him. I said, Atlanta. He said, you should come to the party. I said, I'm wearing black sweatpants and a black top. And I have no pass. So, therefore, I am not dressed fashionably for the party. And I don't have the proper credentials. And then he showed up today wearing what I had on yesterday. Although it's oddly long.
Are you sure it's...
Yes,
it's
long.
very oddly
It's almost
long.
a skirt.
It's all long.
I saw it.
You know, it's like
long.
the girls
It's like the
that have
San Diego
those...
Padre mascot.
It did, yeah. It's part of it. Like, you gotta get the tall sometimes because the regular size will cuts off, and then I'm flaunting gut. And I don't want to do that.
I got
Nobody
you.
wants to see that.
This is a good length. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, look.
Yeah, you can do that one, Paul.
I can do that one. Yeah.
It's really the size of the shirt, not the length. As long as you get maybe an extra... I have to do that, too.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah. No.
So what was the topic?
I don't know. What was
I didn't even know you were over here. I'm just like, this is my first time walking around all day. I might just got off the air.
Yeah.
If you only knew what this show is like, this is perfect. This fits everything we've done today.
Did I talk West Virginia football?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We have West Virginia fans in
Well,
the
I
chat.
know this is like a Big 12 audience. I'm cognizant.
Yeah.
I follow your work.
Yeah. But so West Virginia, I know you were on the bandwagon of Neil Brown, tension last year, right?
I've never been a Neil Brown fan. I mean, when he got hired, I was okay with it. I liked Holgerson, but I understood that he was what you weren't getting any further with Holgerson. You're going to win 8-9 games. That's it. The frustrating part, West Virginia should not be in the Big 12. Right? You agree with that?
Well,
now geographics are now gone.
But they've been in the league now for 10 years.
I know, but they should never have been there. It's a geographic nightmare for recruiting. It's terrible for travel. Like when they were in the Big East, which I know doesn't even exist anymore, but the hook was, we'll go get the kids from Jersey,
Pittsburgh,
Western PA,
yeah,
Western PA. But when Miami was in the Big East, they could go to Miami or Florida and get the 3 stars that Miami didn't want. They come to West Virginia and become really good players.
Absolutely.
They can't do that anymore because, hey, you want to come watch us play at Iowa State? Which, by the way, my friend's son is the quarterback.
Is he really?
Yeah, Anthony Beck.
Yeah.
Rocco.
Rocco Beck.
Is this? See, my Big 12 knowledge is deep.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Rocco's got a dad who's a guy, right?
Yeah.
That's right. He's a guy. Well, Anthony Beck was a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
So, it's hard to recruit at West. Going to Morgantown is hard enough. Hey, you want to come to Morgantown, West Virginia? These remote college towns are hard. And then saying, you're going to play Kansas. Not ideal. So I never liked the fit there. The whole thing got weird when Rodriguez left. That whole situation was a disaster. He was perfect for them. They were right there. And McAfee, that jerk, Pat McAfee, he's right over there. And he cost them the national championship. They should have beat Pitt that night. They lost 12-9.
I remember that.
And, Rodriguez in the middle of the night left and went to Michigan. And West Virginia has kind of hit mediocrity ever since.
But I was one of the idiots that thought they would be terrible this past year. And I was the only one. And Neil Brown was at Big 12 radio media days, and he was pissed all day.
They got the colors on their backdrop wrong.
You know, like when you have the station of where
everybody has the.
He was pissed about the colors behind them. Weren't even their colors. He was mad because they were picked 14 because none of us know anything about the offensive line, and they had a bunch of guys.
They did
back.
have a good offensive line.
No, they did. Yeah. And I mean, he was. That was. He was pissed all day, and they took it out most of the year.
Yeah, I don't know what the direction of where they are, though, is. He's been there now. Okay, you get your recruits to come through. This should be the time where his style of recruits should be coming through, and I don't know that things are changing. So I don't know. It's frustrating because college football is frustrating with what's going on, and then you're one of those teams. Unless you're Texas, Oklahoma, who haven't been Texas obviously had a good year, but they just now came back.
They've been slumbering for a decade.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this year
for
a while. Unless you're at that level, what are you? That's the sad part of what, like at West Virginia, you thought that like if you could have that one magical bottle, like once every 10 years, 15 years, you're not getting that again. I don't think, right? This 12-team playoff not helping that. It's making it worse.
You would think that it's going to push that even further down. Cincinnati gave people hope, even though they got smoked. TCU got hammered. But, again, that was a nice run. And then look where they went back to reality this year.
Yeah, TCU, that whole thing is right. If you can be them like that 1 year, like, okay, but how realistic is that now with the transfer portals and all this stuff? It's like.
You have a good player. He's a pretty good player. You may not be able to retain that guy for more than a year or two.
Right, especially if he's at TCU. And then it's like, hey, you were at TCU. That's not happening again. Come somewhere else.
It is a free-for-all.
It is. I'll tell you what, though. Like, the Big 12, now, Texas is gone. Oklahoma is gone.
Yeah.
This whole new, like, BYU and Cincinnati and
Utah.
Yeah, I mean, the only trip my girlfriend wants to make is Waco still. Jeez. That's it.
Not
Still,
Boulder?
they didn't give us anybody, maybe. What time is it? Yeah.
Well, you got Phoenix. You got Phoenix in there now.
It's a far flight for me. That's another problem. The alumni. Okay, I live in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
To go watch West Virginia play on the road, that's tough, man. I mean, to go fly to another time zone and get back to work.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to Morgantown since I graduated. It's a far drive. It's like a 6-hour drive. That's a far drive to make for a weekend road trip and then come right back. That's another part that's hard for what college, I think, is not understanding is the alumni want to go see their teams play, but being in the Big 12, West Virginia, you can't travel to go see them on the road. It's just it's a hard road trip.
That's a great point because they're the ones feeding the NIL now and, of course, facilities, and just proud that they're an alum.
Yeah, this NIL is going to be very – see, they messed this up. I worked at the student radio station when I was at West Virginia. I got paid a stipend.
I did, too, at SFA, Stephen F. Austin. Yeah.
I was an intramural ref.
Jeremiah Trotter.
Yes, absolutely.
I was in the NFL.
Son's pretty damn good,
I was
too.
an intramural ref.
Me too.
Paid, yeah.
So I got $150 every 2 weeks. That was my stipend. The greed to not say we can give the players a stipend of $1,000. Can you imagine giving a kid $1,000 in 1995?
Oh my God!
They would have thought they were a millionaire. But the greed is so disgusting that now it has gotten to this, which is now worse.
I said this, and people said it wouldn't have mattered, but I think it would have if the NCAA, which like the IRS, except the IRS keeps winning, would have not been so stubborn.
Yeah.
And done the $1,000 25 years
Sure,
ago,
that's what
would
I'm
they
saying.
be in this position today?
No, because if you gave a 18-year-old kid $1,000, he would be, in his mind, loaded. And then the greed of I need more, I would need more, would never have gotten the extreme of zero to now what we're at.
Yeah.
Where essentially, I don't even need to go to the pros for your peasantly contract that you have capped on me.
Right. The rookie can't. Some guys were going to want to hang out for 5 or 6 years.
Some are getting 9 years.
Yeah.
Who's that guy who got like a 9 year?
Miami,
right?
Yeah, the tight end.
Jeez.
Yeah, and he's not going to help them either. Like, if you've got a ninth-year guy, if he's not in 9 years good enough to be a professional player, he's probably not going to help you.
The next phase of college sports might as well just be, if you go to grad school, you get 8 years, right? The NIL, because the amateurism is now gone, well, why not? You're not good enough to be in the pros. You're still enrolled. Just keep playing.
Yeah.
Why not?
Earn a living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just- there was a guy here, by the way, I talked to earlier. He's like creating this new league of like, it's almost like AAU football.
Like for high school kids?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard about that.
The guy, he created the USFL.
That's what they do in basketball.
Well,
AAU and basketball is taken away from high school basketball in some of the
baseball.
cases. And
Right.
baseball,
Yeah.
select ball, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a prep league where if you're like a 4 or 5 star, you basically have to be invited to play, and they're going to travel. Like,
Yeah, they have that. It's called IMG Academy.
yeah, that's right. Well, that's IMG Academy played in New Jersey last summer. They played in Ocean City. There's like this football thing we do the first weekend of the year. There's like 12 games all at Ocean City High School, and they were like, the game was on ESPN and stuff. You guys are probably used to that all the time, but it was pretty neat to see them play.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
That's legit.
So there's not high school games on TV much in the Northeast football?
Well, no, North Jersey, very, very strong.
Okay.
Like the Don Boscos.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're very good. And where we live, the teams are good, but they're not like nationally good.
Right.
There's a ton of talent in New Jersey.
Oh.
The problem is, if
Nebraska used to go and tap into there. Irving Fryer, among some others. Not just him, but the
Doug
others.
Coleman.
Yes.
The linebacker.
The linebacker. I don't think he had an E in his name either. Colman. That's
He's from my hometown. Yeah, I grew up with his sister.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
He was the high school coach at Abstegami. They were really good, and nobody cares about that. But he went to Nebraska. There was a little pipeline. Well, now Matt Rule is the coach there. He's a Philly guy, so you're going to start to see that happen again.
Oh, we know him.
Yep.
Because of Baylor.
That's right. I forgot about that.
We know him.
I always thought that Chip and Joanna were the only people knew there.
No, it's we like Chip and Joanna pushed us down the celebrity list in Waco significantly.
There were times when Waco was known for a lot of not good things either.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But RG3,
I do remember him.
Yeah, he kind of changed that narrative a little bit, and then of course with Chip and Joanna, what they're doing, and you can't
How's
go
the
anywhere.
hotel there? Is that legit?
It's nice.
Hey, I hate to interrupt you, twins, but
all right,
we got a break.
I was just keeping Darren Woods.
Yeah, we're going to bring him right. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Mike
Text
Gill.
me later.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
we're ready. We're
ready for Woody when he's.
Samantha Duvall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being, from what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction along with being able to bid online for people that are not local.
Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that?
What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay.
Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing?
After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. So we've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers.
Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers.
You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak. We've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown.
Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
We are back at 365 Sports NFL Media Headquarters, Radio Row. The great Darren Woodson, former Cowboys safety, here with us, Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoak. What does this week mean to you? I know there's a lot going on with you right now.
This week, as always, Super Bowl is always a big week, and for 13 years I covered it with ESPN. Had the opportunity to do it for three Super Bowls myself, playing with the Dallas Cowboys. So it's always that special time, but it always brings back memories of not so much the week of Super Bowl as the work that went in before. That it was in March and April when the off-season programs are kicking off, and what you were working toward, the ultimate goal being the Super Bowl. That's to me what this is all about, because this is just the flowers. Then once you put in all that work, here come the flowers, and you have the opportunity to play in this game.
What is the biggest difference you see from your three Super Bowl teams to what the Cowboys are going through now? Because I don't know, like, if you could say personnel-wise, strategy-wise, that there's anything they haven't tried to do to to get back to where that is.
Yeah.
But there's an element missing that seems to be almost intangible from what you guys had to what is going on now.
Well, it's hard to compare that, right? Because back then it was a little different. I mean, look, if you looked at us across the board offensively, we probably had the best offensive line to ever play the game as far as depth is concerned. The Stepnoskis and the Larry Allens and
Giesick, Gogan.
Nate Newton, Giesick, Gogan. I mean, Frank Cornish. We just had so many guys that we could throw. Even our backups would come in and dominate, and we were extremely physically offensively. Defensively, we were just the opposite as far as we bring guys at waves on you on the defensive front. I mean, we had guys coming off the bench that could play at the highest level, and then the secondary was always pretty strong as well. So I think personnel is different, and our identity was totally different. Coaching staff were different. The way we went about our business was different. This team has to find its own identity. I remember having this same conversation. With Romo and those guys way back when I was telling those guys, they were asking me the same type of question. Like, you guys got to go find your own identity. Like, you got to go find what makes you special, because that's not what you guys are doing is going to be totally different than what we are. But again, like I just said earlier, it didn't start during the season where the season started and you flipped that light switch on. We were fighting and going at each other in March and competing with each other in the weight room. And when we were doing running drills, we were competing back then. And I think that was the difference, because we were just sharpening each other, and Jimmy kept an alpha dog mentality all the time, where competition was, it was the glory of what we were doing was the competition that allowed us to play at the highest level. And I'm not saying that they're different, but maybe they are. Maybe they go about things totally different nowadays.
Your leaders, your stars, including you, Aikman, Emmett, Irvin, were also the hardest working.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what I was always told.
And that's no different from, look, I'm not in that locker room in today's game, in that Cowboys locker room. I'm not. But you can't tell me, and I'm going to give you this. I office at the Star in Frisco, where they practice. My office is on the third floor. It looks down on that practice field. And I can see when guys in the offseason, they show up March and April. And number 4 is there. He's putting in work. Micah Parsons, the rest of those guys, they're coming in and putting in work. So there's a lot of guys that show up early. They get the work in that they need to do as far as taking care of their body, getting physically strong. I'm not sure if all of them are coming in. Like, we had no choice. You didn't miss the offseason. There
was no voluntary.
Oh, no, it was voluntary mandatory, or you got cut by Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
It's a little different now just because of CBA rules, and that goes across the board from every team. But, that's how you build a team. It starts early on where you can't miss, and you hold each other accountable for showing up, working out, and getting that mindset right to be a championship mindset.
One of the players you played with in the secondary, Kevin Smith, Pup.
Yeah, Puppy Dog.
He's College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, man.
One of the
Much
guys, and look, for the Cowboys teams, he forget how good he was.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because, look, Larry Brown won the MVP of the game.
Yep.
Dion was there with you guys. You're there.
Yep.
But you had
James Washington.
You had all
Thomas
those,
Everett.
all those guys there, and Pup was consistently good for all this
Look,
time.
let me tell you, Kevin Smith doesn't tear his Achilles. He's a perennial all-pro. He came in his second league. He should have been an all-pro player, Pro Bowl player at least, and he got skipped over. But he came in the league, and a little different for me because Kevin Smith was my roommate. We came in together. And I watched him play. Craziest thing is, I hate to say this with him because I don't want to get his head swollen, but I was at Arizona State. He was at Texas A&M. And I remember watching them play and watching Pup play at A&M and saying, man, that dude.
He can do it.
Oh, he can do it. He can line up. And he was covering man-to-man, no help, out there one-on-one, moved his feet, went after the ball, did a little bit of everything. And then we got drafted. He goes, I think it was 17. I go in the second round. He goes first round, 17. I go in the second round. And we were roommates the entire time of his career. It was 10 years or 9 years of his career. We were roommates on the road all the time. So the friendship and the relationship, and the reason why I'm sitting here today, I promise you, there's a reason why I'm a Pro Bowler and did all those things and have these individual accomplishments, is because Kevin Smith, Larry Brown, Brock Marion, James Washington, Thomas Everett, those guys poured into me every single day to make me a better football player. It's the reason why I became what I was.
I was listening to Dave Campo on the other radio the other day, and he was talking about what your role was and what you would like the glue. And I know there's a lot of stars on that team. The line was quick, but he mentioned that you were the glue. And obviously because of what this week could mean to you as well, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Do you go about this week any differently than you have all the other times you've been involved with this?
As far as a player is concerned?
As a player or someone who's the possibility of or immortality.
Of being in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
No. I guess I look at this week as, look, the epitome of what I've always wanted to accomplish is, of course, I wanted to win championships and win as many as I can as far as a team concept, but as an individual, you want to be recognized for your play. And for me, it's, do I want to be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd be lying to you if I told you that it doesn't weigh on my heart that hopefully I have the opportunity to do that, because I want to recognize those guys like we just said, the James Washingtons and the Kevin Smith and all those guys that were on number one defenses all those years and aren't getting recognized. The Dixon Edwardses of the world, or, the Russell Maryland, so many guys that I played with. I want to recognize those guys because we don't have a lot of players. Like 92, 93, we might have Charles Haley. Deion didn't come to us until 95, and he had played with the Falcons and then with San Francisco, so he really doesn't count.
Yeah.
But the rest of those guys that won those championships, man.
You haven't gotten the residue that the Steelers got from the 70s.
No, at all. At all. Ken Norton Jr., who ended up going to San Francisco, was the leader of that defense in 92. Like, there's so many guys that played at really high levels. And I'm thinking about this the other day. We forced 9 turnovers the first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
9 turnovers. The first Super Bowl, 5 the second.
The one at the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
I was there, and you're right. It was like it almost got to the point where they playing with a different ball.
Exactly, and it's like I don't know if we got recognized to play legitimately, be the number one defense throughout the entire season, go on the Super Bowl, force 9 turnovers, and no one says anything. Like, it's ridiculous that the guys that played on those teams don't get some of the same fanfare.
You played with Deion Sanders for a few years, and he's a very polarizing guy for people on the outside who don't know him.
Yeah.
Right? Because they've decided to paint this picture of what Deion is based on whenever they remember him in his career, right? But Deion Sanders, the coach, is kind of a different animal than maybe I think a lot of people have seen. What is your opinion on what he is doing and what he is trying to do as a head coach?
Look, man, he's been a leader of men forever, and no one has ever given him credit for the fact that he's so willing to help young kids, either young kids, young football players, to put them under his wing, to help them grow not only on the field, but all off the field. Like just becoming a man. And there's so many guys that coming into the locker room that guys rallied around him because he is that leader of men. And to watch him, look, I think we're seeing the final product of what Deion is as far as his coaching ability and the fact that players want to play with him. But I remember when he first started off at the Pee Wee League level, at the little kids were coming to him, 7, 8 years, 9 years old that were coming to him, and he was talking about them being men. And the way they should be treating their mom and how they should be acting in school and doing the right things. And he was teaching kids then, and then it went to the high school level, and then it went to Jackson State, and now he's at the University of Colorado, and he's still doing the exact same thing, teaching men how to become men. And I just got so much respect for him. The best football player I've ever played with, hands down. There's 2 guys, Larry Allen, Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders, I'd say, the best football player and the best athlete. He's got both of those things.
Yeah, people, I also think, don't know because they just saw, like when you saw him in the 90s, you saw Deion in the clothes and the flash and prime time, and the character he kind of created, right? Yeah. That was his persona. But people don't realize how, I've never heard one person say Deion was a bad teammate.
No.
Never once.
Never was. And he's a country boy. You never know that. Like, it's prime time on Game Time,
Yeah,
right?
you think he's from L.A. or Miami or something.
No,
Yeah.
he's fishing on.
Yeah.
It's Sunday, Monday morning. You're gonna find him at the local pond somewhere trying to fish or drugs his little pond with turtles or something like. He is a country boy at heart, but he's the most giving person that you'll ever meet. Now, prime time does show up when it's game time. Whether he be a football player or a coach, he wants to play with confidence, and he's the most confident person. And I've learned so much about, how your approach to a game and how much confidence you bring just by watching him prepare and then walk out on the field and talk to himself to be best.
We had Bill Miller on earlier today from the Gaming Association, and we were discussing the state of Texas and Mark Cuban selling off to the group out of Vegas. And you are partners with Choctaw Casinos and Resorts as part of the entrepreneur of what you do now.
Yes.
And Aikman and Pudge and Emmett and all of that.
Emmett just came on today, joined the partnership. But we are, look, I've been a friend and had a relationship with Choctaw for the last 7 or 8 years. And it started off by going up to Choctaw, driving 90 minutes up and watching concert venues up there. Best concert venues you could ever have are at Choctaw Resort, just 90 minutes up north, right in the city of Durant, Oklahoma. But it's an easy drive. But also they built this tower about 2.5, 3 years ago, where it's a resort-style pool, class. I mean, one of the best steakhouses in the country. And it's a way to get away with family. I'll take my kids up there, take my wife, my family, friends, either go watch a concert or enjoy the amenities. But it's been a great relationship, and that's the reason why you see the likes of the Troy Aikman, who's doing the same and has for the longest time, or Emmett Smith joined that partnership because of that relationship. It's a strong relationship.
So you're a businessman.
Yes.
You took care of yourself after the career. How was that transition for you? Because we had Nate Boyer on, who's part of military and NFL players after their regiment of what they are and how difficult that transition can be. Was it ever for you?
No, it was. Well, it kind of was, but again, it wasn't, because when I was playing football, my agent was a developer, and I officed with my agent for 96. I started doing that, so I started understanding the real estate game early on because of my agent, George Bass, who was the CFO for a company called Weber & Company. So the transition for me was I understood what life was like without football, and that there was something that I could be in love with outside of football, which was real estate. And that's the reason why the transition wasn't so hard, because I knew exactly what I was going to do. Emmett Smith knew exactly what he was going to do. And got a kudos to Roger Staubach for coming back and pouring into guys like myself and Emmett and the real estate game. But I think I've always known that life is short in this industry as far as the NFL is concerned, not for long, and knowing that I was going to move into something else. So my transition was not as hard as some of the former players that I played with.
Arizona State going to the Big 12.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
I'm happy, man.
You're happy? Look, good. They're basically saying, Darren, we're going to come and see you now.
Come see me. Yes. So I get to see, and we've had to adopt teams, right? And because Arizona State is out in Phoenix and I'm in Dallas, so we go watch TCU play. We go down to Texas and watch Texas play. And I have kids that love playing. They love the sport of football. Now I get to see Arizona State come to TCU and play that game and go to Baylor and play those games there.
We'll put you up.
Yeah, we will. We'll take care of you down in Waco.
We got a couch now.
You got one. You waiting on me, huh?
Yeah. So the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh was at Sun Devil Stadium.
Yes.
Your alma mater.
Yeah,
My dad got his master's at Arizona State. He was at Luke Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And that just popped in my head that you played the Super Bowl in your stadium.
You know what the greatest thing was about that wasn't so much that it felt like home field advantage, because it kind of did.
Sure.
Because I played so many games, being a Sun Devil and playing my college career there. But it was the fact that I had so many people, like teachers that were my grade school teachers that I gave tickets to, and coaches that came up. And that week leading up to the Super Bowl, Tuesday and Wednesday, I went up to the schools and met with the teachers, and that was the most fulfilling part of me, because I was that little kid that was in their classroom that was just a little snotty-nosed kid that never knew what he was going to do, and those same teachers poured into me, and now they get to watch me. They get to go to the game and watch me play. That was the most fulfilling part of the Super Bowl.
With free agency interrupting your run, in Dallas. And obviously there was the coaching change, but Switzer still was able to be there when Super Bowl 30.
Absolutely.
How many in a row or how many in a chunk could you guys have put together had free agency not?
Yeah, that's a hard question, but I legitimately feel like we could have won at least 4 or 5, at least 5. I think that team was special. And it was special in the sense of the way we worked, the way we were attached at the hip off the field, how Jimmy, and if Jimmy could have stayed with us, how Jimmy approached that team and how he knew how to, take the accelerator off when he had to, push it when he had to, and how he surrounded us with a great coaching staff at the same time that allowed us to play. So I think when you got a guy like Troy Aikman at the helm, man, he does not get enough credit for not only his skill set but his leadership abilities. I think that Troy would have led us to at least 5 Super Bowls.
I got a question for you. There was a summer training camp where he got so pissed off the offense was struggling or whatever, he turned around and punted the football.
Punted football, started the entire practice over again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just
sucked. Back then, when I was a kid, I was like, I don't know what you're doing. It's like we're about 10, 15 minutes for practice being over.
He was so frustrated.
And he was so frustrated. He kicked the ball, and he said, start it all over again. We started from the defensive back. So when you walk out on practice, in Jimmy's practice, you know exactly what you're going to do. You go do defensive back drills, you backpedal, you do all these. It's like a game time. The guys are warming up for a game. It's the same thing for practice. So we started practice all the way over again and then went from there. But that was Troy. Troy wanted not only to win, but things had to be right on the practice field in order for us to go out and play on Sunday. And if they weren't right, we weren't going to be the same team. And that's what we kind of lost. That's what we lost when we lost Jim.
That edge. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who like to take the hot take of like Troy Aikman shouldn't be a Hall of Famer because he didn't throw for a lot of yards.
Shame.
It's the stupidest thing. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And I can, he was the most accurate passer in the league.
Yes.
I mean, he could throw the ball through a keyhole. And I just tell them, all right, you put Troy Aikman in the Cowboys offense right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to throw for 6,000 yards.
Absolutely. He's going to throw, and he threw the out route better than anyone. He threw the deep post, the skinny post. He was as accurate. And I saw this guy every day. So you don't think I was getting sharpened up every single day?
Every time.
When I had to cover Michael Irvin or Jay Novacek or whomever, you better be on him because he's going to put it in a place where they can only make the catch.
How fulfilling was it when you, especially when you're a rookie coming up and Aikman's, threading the needle on you and he's, Novacek's muscling you up and Irvin's, basically robbing you, the way you played. But when you made that first one, when you're like, oh, okay, does that make you feel kind of like, okay, I do belong here?
Yes. And I think it was early on in my career. It was like the first few months of me making it, because my deal was I was what they call a tweener. I played linebacker in college, and they didn't think I could cover. But Lovie Smith was my coach at college, taught me how to cover slot receiver, taught me how to cover the running backs, tight ends. I was a cover guy, so the team didn't know that until I came into with the Cowboys. But when I first got there, it was, I'm watching guys and I'm thinking, okay, I know exactly where I fit. Dude, I can play. I honestly the confidence went through the roof when I got there because I knew just by watching the personnel that I fit. I'm going to make this team. And not only am I going to make this team, but I'll be an impact player for this football team.
And you were, and I'm hoping this weekend that is something that you were honored with.
I appreciate that.
Lovie Smith, Big Sandy, Texas.
He
is a great friend of mine because he recruited when he was at Tulsa. He played at Tulsa, then became a coach. He recruited East Texas. That's where I was when I started covering you back in the day.
Yeah.
Lovie Smith, loved the guy.
Yeah, great man.
Great defensive mind.
Yeah.
Again, it's Choctaw of casinos up in just on the other side of the Texas border.
That's right.
And make sure you have a chance. Aikman, Pudge, obviously Darren Woodson, Emmitt Smith, a part of that, and Choctaw, a part of your life. Enjoy the weekend up there.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
buddy. Darren Woodson, the 365 Sports in Vegas. Samantha DeBall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being From what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction along with being able to bid online for people that are not local.
Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that?
What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay.
Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing?
After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. So we've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers.
Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers.
You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak. We've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown.
Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Thank you for calling your local Marco's Pizza. We're turning up the heat with our new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Fresh, house-made dough is topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. At only $5.99, this limited-time product is a hot deal. Add it to your order while you can. A Marco's team member will be with you shortly.
Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, and that offer on the Reaper Cheesy Bread is available right now at any of the 5 Marco's Pizza locations in Waco, including Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Woodway, and Hewitt. Order online at marcos.com. Call for a pickup or delivery. Marco's Pizza is turning up the heat with their all-new Reaper Cheesy Bread with fresh, hot, house-made dough topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. And only $5.99 and for a limited time only. Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in Waco. And the new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
It's time for Paul Catalina's Top 5, brought to you by Texas Beef House. Where's the best beef in Texas? Your house when you order from Texas Beef House. Unleash the flavor of Texas raised Wagyu. From our pasture to your plate, TexasBeefHouse.com.
Top 5 out of nowhere Super Bowl MVPs. These are the guys, like I went through the whole list and I eliminated quarterbacks because you often assume that the quarterback, so like even though Doug Williams was kind of out of nowhere, like as far as the MVP of that game, he had a great season, but I don't think anybody thought going into the game they were going to win because of Doug Williams, particularly. Like
you didn't what?
They didn't think anybody was going to win because Doug was going to have this unbelievable game.
Oh, not
it was
the
gonna
game
be,
he had.
No, it was going to be somebody else that was
Schrader.
Yeah, Schrader, exactly.
Yeah.
So he was out of nowhere, but he still was the quarterback in the game, so you kind of put him out there. So, but these are at number 5. You will know this is old school, Smokey, old school. But he was.
I know who it is.
It's Jake Scott.
Yep. Safety for the Dolphins.
2 fumble recoveries, 47 punt return yards, 28 kick return yards.
14-7 win against Washington.
Yeah, a huge thing. And he wound up playing for Washington after that. But Jake Scott, people may not, I would say in the annals of Super Bowl MVP history, he is probably the most forgotten one.
Yeah, there may be 1 or 2 others, but I do know that he was a hell of a player.
Yeah.
But that was a team with Zonka and Kick and all those guys. And,
that's who you would have thought would have been.
And
Greasy.
Bonacani.
Yeah.
Mercury Morris, who was not a starter, but kind of a glitz and glamour at running back. Yeah,
absolutely. Number 4, Malcolm Smith.
Yeah, that's still one that I bet most people, if you said name the 5 most random MVPs, it would still be one that I think people would struggle with.
Yeah, Malcolm Smith Horse had the interception on Pete Carroll's worst play call in the history of his career.
I saw a documentary on that play. Like, there's not a 30-minute deal, but on that play that Belichick, I don't know what it was. He saw something on practice video, like practice film. I'm not sure if he's supposed to have it, but that he saw what New England, or he saw what Seattle had been running on the goal line, and there's kind of a semi-pick play that was being run, and they practiced getting Malcolm inside. It's a great. It's like that's why Belichick won. It was it was not illegal practice, but Belichick and the team ran that play over and over and over again in case they needed it, and they did, and he picked it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, known much more for his college exploits and his TV career, Desmond Howard.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, kick returner.
Yeah, I was at that game against the Packers, against New England.
Yeah.
I think it might have been down in New Orleans. I'm not sure if it was New Orleans or Atlanta, one of the two. But, yeah, had a big moment. Drafted by Washington, another Washington, not failure because he turned out to be good enough to win it. But one that I thought he in that, was that North Turner? Who was it that was the coach? It was Gibbs? I don't think it was Gibbs. It would have been. But when he was drafted by Washington, you're like, oh, he's going to have all these toys, and it didn't work out.
No, it didn't. So that's very interesting that's how that went down. So, but he didn't make it there because again, they were good when they drafted Desmond Howard.
No, I think I thought it was going to be a good match based on what they were doing at the time.
But he wound up kind of just being a kick returner, kind of a Mel Gray type, and then became the MVP. He was like the 5th wide receiver on that.
It wasn't like he had a great NFL career.
No,
but he had that one night in the Super Bowl.
He was a good NFL player, and he was a serviceable. I mean, he was a great kick returner. Number 2, Dexter Jackson.
Yep, Tampa Bay.
That was
a West Coast game against the Raiders and Gannon.
Yeah.
Rich Gannon, yep.
And he had those interceptions. Of course, that was all like Barrett Robbins was down in Tijuana the night before and didn't play. All the weird stuff that went on with that game. A lot of people think that that's something like that's going to happen here. It's a little bit of a different time in the NFL, but and plus they're staying way out of town.
Desmond Howard was drafted the year after just after Washington won Super Bowl 26.
Yeah, so they were good.
And it was Gibbs.
Really good.
It would have been Gibbs, I think. Yeah,
they were still really good.
Didn't work out.
And number 1, a guy we were just talking about, Larry Brown, who was by and large the most. I mean, we talk about Pup not getting the credit he deserves, but Larry Brown was the most unsung member of the secondary, especially that year when you have Woodson and Marion and Dion and Kevin Smith and like those guys that were on that team.
Thomas Everett may have been gone by that year.
He was gone by then.
Yeah, he was gone by then.
He was gone by then.
And he was a hell of a player, yeah.
But he was gone by then. But so Larry Brown was, I mean, he was just kind of the last guy you think of. And most of the time when I remember, of course, being a Cowboys fan, whenever a kind of a big play was made, it was usually made over towards Larry Brown because Dion and Pup were.
Well, they were throwing the opposite direction, so he had opportunities. And, of course, Neil O'Donnell with a couple of, gift-wrapped interceptions. But you still have to be where you're supposed to be, and he was.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Dion caught a long pass in that game down the middle. I was in the seats that I had at Sun Devil Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Brown.
Larry Brown, the most random one, and the one,
You know, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, would be a good of the 5 who were unknown that were blocked out of becoming an MVP because of other, like, for example, Timmy Smith, the running back, the year that Doug Williams went off, right?
Yeah.
And he had almost 200 yards rushing went to Texas Tech, and he didn't do much after that. He was gone. He was done. Or ones that just flamed out. Those are 5. Those are 5 hard ones to get to.
You know who's one that probably should have been the MVP but wasn't? Was James Washington.
No, in Atlanta.
Yeah, he should have been.
Was it? No, that was in L.A.
Emmett in Atlanta because that was
Atlanta when he had the fumble return and all that. Yeah,
but Emmett was the MVP, and look, you can't argue with the best running back in the
Yeah, because 52-17 against Buffalo in L.A. And then it was Atlanta.
That was Aikman.
And then the next year, you're right, Emmett got it, and there was a lot of argument. Even the media, the Dallas media was like, "Whoa."
By the way, I would like it. I would like to credit 12-year-old Paul for staying inside my brain and not getting giddy. Every time we talk to Darren Woodson, like I hear 12-year-old me going, it's Darren Woodson, it's Darren Woodson, it's Darren Woodson. He just stayed in there. He stayed in there. So I've
You're 12-year-old Paul?
12-year-old Paul.
You can't.
We all have the different ages of ourselves that like live in our brain.
When Joe Gibbs would sit down next to me right now, I'd act like he was no different than anyone else.
Chased him around.
I was a duckling following him in the pond.
Chased him around. Yeah. Look,
that was in New Orleans. I remember that because I almost said, I'm going to get some jambalaya here. It's just Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
And he's not the most, he's a freaking great coach, a great man. But he's not like, hey, how you doing?
He's very mellow.
Yes.
I would say mellow is the thing. He's got a like a sweet grandpa vibe about him.
Yeah,
right?
he does. Yeah, but he's got that fiery personality that nobody ever. People learned about that.
But that's why it worked because when you're like Bobby Bowden is the same way, sweet grandpa vibe, but better not mess up.
All right, retired stockbroker. How can his wife buy some candles? Tyler Candle Company. Go online, tylercandlecompany.com, and there's very, very selective locations in a lot of places where you can find them. You're not going to find them in sometimes the mall.
No,
you're going to find them in very nice type of, I guess, boutiques might be the best way to put it.
Yeah, I would say boutiques, and they are, like, if you're worried about are they in my town, Eric has built a very, very successful national business, so there's a good chance they are.
Yeah, I'll try to find out where you can do that. A retired stockbroker, Chris, in Houston. I'll work on that. Thanks to all of our guests. Tomorrow, Kellen Winslow Sr., these are supposedly Randy Grimes, Neil Smith, the possibility of Brian Baldinger, Jamal Lewis, Lee Steinberg, Steve Largent, Chef Roy Choi is going to join us from Vegas here, a very popular show that he does on television too. So those are the guests that we have, at least for now. Thanks to Emery Winter for all the work behind the scenes. Garrett Ross having to manage and maneuver through chaos because I created it. And then Millie Vanilla Mike, it comes over here, Paul's twin. I mean, this was how Garrett won't go home and take a 4-hitter. I don't know. I mean,
it might happen. It's probably going to happen.
It's probably going to happen. He did it yesterday.
We can't.
You can. We're in Vegas.
We're in Vegas. Okay.
We're in Vegas.
All right.
I don't care.
Get what you want. Yeah, Timmy Smith did not win it because Doug Williams had a monstrous game with the 5 touchdowns in the second quarter. Smith was unbelievable. For Paul Catalina, thanks to Allen Samuels House of Travel, thanks to all of our sponsors, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, with all of the military parts of today's show, I'm David Smoak. Good night from Vegas.